Welcome back to another episode of Poor Decisions with
Robyn
and Liv.
And today's episode is all about
Dreams.
dreaming. What are dreams? Why do we dream? Where did dreaming come from? What do our dreams mean? And more. Liv knows nothing of what's going to happen in today's episode.
It's a surprise. I don't know, it's not a secret, but so what happens is Robyn does all of the research. We choose a theme together. Robyn does all of the research on it, and then to me it's all surprise. I hate research. I'm not going to say I hate reading, because I really don't hate reading. It's just, I'd rather not.
But if you're reading, it's because you've chosen the thing and then it's there.
Or it's like work and I'm like, I have to do it. That's why it's like a chore.
But research is different to reading.
Research is different to reading, yes. But I don't want to be involved in that. I just want to come and talk to y'all and have a good time.
Whereas I absolutely love.
You love research.
I love doing the research, yeah. I had a lot of fun doing this.
Good combo. So, we are in the Four Shells Cava Lounge.
We're already one cava in.
We're one cava in. We'll be two, because we'll do a little salute.
Have one on camera now that we're all set up. For those who don't know, we have what we call our away episodes at Four Shells Cava for the more, I don't know what we call them, like not serious subjects. We're never really that serious, but
we're never serious.
But
the ones we want to talk about, whereas the home episodes or like the brewery episodes or the vineyard episodes to come, they're more
messy.
They're more messy, and because we drink on them, and I love drinking and talking. It's like one of my favorite things to do, other than hanging out with my friend Molly and talking. But
we can't do that on these.
We can't do that on these episodes, and I really like deep, meaningful conversations. So does Robyn. So Cava is the perfect place to kind of have deep, meaningful conversations, open up, and the space is beautiful, and the owners are beautiful, and it works well for us.
Yeah, represent. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. What is our first? You're the one with all the research. I'm the one with no idea. So
I thought we'd start with the science. Like
science. I love science.
You love science.
I love science. Yeah, it's great.
Science.
Reference to disenchantment. Bee is bean. Bean is my spirit animal.
Okay, I've never seen this.
Yeah, well, that's why you don't have the reference.
It can go on the list. All right, we're going to start with what is dreaming, the science behind it. We're going to start with the phases. The phases are repeated in cycles throughout the night. So our first stage as we go to sleep is called the transition phase. That's when you go from wakefulness into sleep as you begin to relax and your breathing slows. From there, we go into light sleep. Your body temperature drops, breathing slows even more. From there, we go into deep sleep, characterized by a particular pattern in your brain called delta waves. And then we go in... Yeah, there's delta, there's alpha, and different waves for your brains. Yeah, we'll go into that later as well. There's more of it. I told you this week's getting dorkier than last week.
I just like the name, Delta.
And then we're going into Delta for me only. This is
the phonetic alphabet?
No, it's not just that. Obviously, it is from the phonetic alphabet, but back home we have Delta cabs, and that's our local taxis. So that's all I knew it was until I went to Air Cadets, and then it became phonetic alphabet, and now I know it has to do with sleep.
We'll do an episode on Air Cadets.
God, there's going to be so many things. Then you go into REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. Breathing gets faster.
Is that what it's called? Rapid eye movement?
Yeah. So same, I said EMDR, which is, eye movement desensitization reprocessing, the treatment that I do for PTSD. Yeah, it's to do with REM.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's all about the rapid eye movement.
Okay.
So we'll do a whole episode on that as well. But anyway, REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. Breathing gets faster and your eyes move all over. During REM is when dreaming happens. The brain is almost as active as when you're awake, when you're in REM.
Look.
Which is fascinating.
2 comments on that. One, I think that's wild that it's rapid eye movement, because I thought, it's like where the deep sleep happens, right? Mm. But I thought REM sleep.
No, actually, it's after deep sleep.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh. It goes transition, light sleep, deep sleep, REM.
Okay. Yeah, I was listening.
Back around again.
I was listening. Were you listening? Are you smarter than a 5th grader?
Have you learned anything so
Are you smarter than a 5th grader? I'm 23. REM, that's wild, because rapid eye movement, That makes a lot of sense because, like, say when you're, when like you're thinking a lot, or you're, I don't know, you're like, even eye movements when you're imagining things. Like, there's signals that people can do during lies, because it's like I don't I don't know, like, if I don't know the right one, whether it's like you look up or left.
I think you look left when you lie.
Because you're like triggering.
It's actually your creativity.
Yeah, you're triggering the creativity
side.
side.
Oh, is that right?
I don't know.
We need to check, because obviously it's opposite sides of the brain of what you use to what you. Because we did this last week with happiness.
But so that's where it kind of stems from, is like that's where it stems from. I've done zero research.
It's where it stems from.
It's wild to me that it's like rapid eye movement, and that's when you're dreaming, is because you're thinking about a lot of different things. Your brain's moving so like actively. That's crazy, and it's crazy to think that's not. So like, I'm a person who I dream very intensely, right? I have very vivid dreams. I have a lot of dreams, good and bad and whatever. We'll get into that. But to think that that's like the last cycle of my sleep, and that's not the whole cycle of my sleep.
Yeah, well, what we'll go into is the fact that it's one part of it. It's the last part of a cycle, but then it continues round.
It goes round.
So it goes round again, which is like, it goes, yeah, we'll get into
it's a cycle, right?
It's a cycle. All right. History and dreams. Ancient Egypt's dreams. History and creams. History and memes.
History and memes. Let's do that episode.
Ancient Egypt, big into dream interpretation. Like
they would be.
So many parts of history were, but
so much symbolism.
Ancient Egypt was so into it. They had volumes of books describing meaning behind dreams, and lots of professional dream interpreters. That was a full-on career. And then in 1900, Sigmund Freud published the influential book Interpretation of Dreams. He believed that dreams could be used to understand the unconscious desires. It all started when he had a dream so famous it has a name and a Wikipedia page.
Ooh.
Called Irma's Injection. I'm going to read out the dream.
Irma's Injection.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. But everything with Freud is fucking weird. He was a little freak.
Freud was a weird dude. Yeah.
Freud was a little freak.
Freud.
He was like, tell me your dream. And he's like, fuck my mom.
Bang his mama, yeah.
Exactly where we both went.
I was like trying to say it like super politely, like wants to bang his mama. You're like, fuck his mother. Okay.
He wants to fornicate with his madre.
And also, fact check this, because I am correct. Freud and Freudism is where the your mom joke stems from.
That's so funny.
Google it.
I did not know that.
I made it up right now.
Okay, I hate that for you. I was so excited then. I don't love it for.
I did.
I just told
I made it up.
David, who brought in our cover, like the fun fact about where booby trap comes from, which is that boob used to be like an insult for being stupid. So if you fall for a booby trap, it's because you're a fucking idiot.
Or it's because you fell for a booby trap, which is literally you got caught staring at a woman's tits in the old days.
That's another fun fact that you shouldn't fact check, because Liv made it up on the spot.
I like to make up facts and then sprinkle them in and see if you believe it.
Which is why I do the research.
What's real and what's fiction?
All right, do you want the dream or not?
I would love it. Please give it to me.
The dream. Freud had been treating a patient whom he called Irma during the summer of 1895. At one point, he proposed a particular treatment solution that Irma was not willing to accept. Lord knows what that was. Irma's treatment was particularly successful, but it ended before it was complete. After some time passed, Freud visited with a colleague who knew Irma and asked about her condition. Freud was informed that Irma was better, but not quite well. That night, Freud dreamt the dream that is now known as Irma's Injection. He described it as follows. A large hall, numerous guests, whom were receiving, among them was Irma. I at once took her to one side, as though to answer her letter and to reproach her for not having accepted my solution yet.
Sorry, this is going to be real dumb.
Yeah?
What does reproach mean? Like, I scolded her?
Not so much scold, but yeah, kind of. Like to
scold.
To rebuttal it, to be like, why didn't you do
Query.
this? Like, it's all good feet. Like, you know. I said to her, if you still get pains, it's really only your fault. So there's a reproach. She replies, if you only knew what pains I've got now in my throat and stomach and abdomen, it's choking me. I was alarmed and I looked at her. She looked pale and puffy. I feel you, girl. I thought to myself that after all, I must be missing some organic trouble. I took her to the window and looked down her throat. and she showed signs of recalcitrance. Recalcitrance?
I didn't know what
I haven't
reproach
heard that.
was.
I'll just check that in a second. Like women with artificial dentures. Oh, like literally like calcium. So amounts of buildup of calcium in her mouth. I thought to myself that there was really no need for her to do that. She then opened her mouth properly, and on the right I found a big white patch. At another place I saw extensive whitish grey scabs upon some remarkable curly structures, which were evidently modelled on the turbinal bones of the nose. I at once called Dr. M, and he repeated the examination and confirmed it. Dr. M looked quite different from usual. He was very pale. He walked with a limp, and his chin was clean shaven. My friend Otto was now standing beside her as well, and my friend Leopold was percussing her through her bodice and saying, "She has a dull area low down to the left." He also indicated that a portion of her skin on the left shoulder was infiltrated. I noticed this, just as he did, in spite of her dress. M said there is no doubt it's an infection, but no matter, dysentery will supervene and the toxin will be eliminated. We were directly aware, too, of the origin of the infection. Not long before, when she was feeling unwell, my friend Otto had given her an injection of preparation of propolis, propolic acid, tryptomethylene, and I saw before me the formula for this printed in heavy type. Injections of this sort ought not to be given so thoughtlessly, and probably the syringe had not been clean.
That's a dream.
That was a dream he had about his patient who didn't want to take his treatment.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, really bad.
Absolutely horrifying. Imagine having that dream, wake up in the morning and just being like,
Well, from that dream, he decided that dreams were about wish fulfillment because he wished to make her well and have her listen to him. And because she hadn't, that it was coming out in his unconscious mind. So, like, once you fulfilled it awake, then it wouldn't express in the dreams in the same way.
It's about wish fulfillment.
Yeah, that was his belief in dreams. But, Freud was very black and white with everything.
He's very black and white.
Very black and white. So he was like, dreams are about wish fulfillment.
Just let me get this wish fulfillment theory down correctly. So he wanted a positive outcome, therefore he dreamt of a negative scenario.
In real life, she had decided not to continue treatment with him. And then in his dream, he had made her sick to the point where she finally did listen to him and take up his treatment, but it was like too late at this point. She'd taken bad treatment. So that was his belief around it.
Okay.
He's really black and white, and he had a whole book around it, which is the interpretation of dreams. Carl Jung ended up expanding on Freud's theories, and Jung considered archetypal symbols that appear frequently in dreams, so like a trickster or a wise old sage. Jung thought that dreams were interpretable, that the symbols were a code to be cracked. So it could be like a language for the dream. So if a person shows up, this means this.
Yeah. And it's AB plus A plus 1 plus 1 equals 2.
Exactly.
Not A plus B equals C.
But then he believed that there were two functions for a dream. One, to be compensated for the things ignored or repressed in your real life, or looking forward, so actually trying to
manifest
show the future. Well, hints about the future, actually, that was telling you the future.
I believe in that. I believe in not necessarily predetermination, but to a degree. Like, I believe in... Have you ever had the feeling of deja vu?
So...
You're going to get into it?
I'm going to get into not so much with deja vu, but I am going to get into premonitions.
Yeah, but the feeling of deja vu, for example, and I'm probably just spoiling this before you dive in, but I just want to say that. Like,
I'm not going to cover deja vu in this because that's not like a dream. I wouldn't put that in just in dreams. Does that make sense? Deja vu is what happened in real life when your brain has
100%.
that.
But
weird as fuck.
I remember, like, as a kid more, not so much now as an adult, but as a kid more, I would have dreams of, like, not big things, like, not like the lottery ticket numbers or anything like that, but it would be the simple gesture of, like, reaching for this or reaching for that. And then I'd be the next day or the day after, and I would do that exact thing. Like, I would grab this plant leaf.
Oh, you'd have it in a dream, and then it would come back.
And it would come back in, and I'd be like, I've literally done this before. Like, I have done that.
When I have deja vu, it is that I have lived that exact moment before. It's never in a dream.
Yeah, okay.
But
mine are dreams.
I've had premonitions. I don't know if I've ever told you about my premonition dream. I actually had forgotten to write this down entirely because it just, I don't know, I feel like it went more with like the grief episode, but it works with this so well. So I'll tell you now anyway. I'm also sharing someone else's in the same time, I guess. So for the 3 weeks before my father had passed away, that I'd found out that my father had passed away.
Oh, no.
I had a dream every single night that the police were knocking on my door and telling me that he had passed. So when I found out, it was the weirdest thing, obviously. And I never told anyone this until I finally like told my mom like maybe 9 months later. And then a year later after his passing, my dad's best friend, John, came up to me in a party, and I was at like his sister's house for a family party. He'd had the same dream for 3 weeks before he'd found out that my dad had passed too. The exact same dream. Police knocking on his door and telling him that he had passed. And that was, and I remember because my mom had told him this, and he like came to find me in the house. I was like, I had the same dream.
Yeah.
Because how weird is that? And I was 13 at the time.
But it goes into a complete another realm that we're in, like that we don't even delve into on a day-to-day basis, and I think that we neglect, if I'm completely honest, the world that you and I dabble in, and like
it's like we don't neglect.
We dabble in it. We dabble. We dabble. The occasional love spell here and there.
That's you.
Us.
I do it for you.
That's us. You do it for me.
I do it for you, yeah.
You do it for me. I'm like, I'm in love with him. You're like, let's
I get
do
employed
some
and
spells.
paid in red wine jus.
Yeah.
To do
I'll
wine
make it for you every day. Make him fall in love with me. It's that whole realm of spirituality that I think like the connectedness that people have, the connections that people have, they go beyond the physical world. 100%. I 100% agree, like believe that, because even like stories of, we'll do a whole afterlife, because afterlife
we have to.
I'm desperate
I hadn't
for
even
it.
thought about mentioning the premonitions one in here, but that dream was obviously like one of the most pivotal of my life. Dreams are very, like, I've got so many in here we're going to be talking about as we run through, and so do you. Which is why we want to talk about it, because we talk about dreams a lot, and even that one hadn't come up with us yet, because we have so many to talk about.
100%. Oh, the dreams that I have though, like they range from, because you know my whole experience with dreaming, and we will get into this. Please just bear for the
don't worry. I've got little notes throughout where
bear
your
with
little
us
cues
for
are.
bear with us for the cringe, not the cringe, just the chaos of Liv's life in every aspect. Dreaming, alive, wake. I don't know. Probably in death, I'll be chaos as well. Like it'll happen.
I swear to God, if you come back to
I
me
will.
and you're deaf,
I'll
to
come
be
back.
like, hey, he hasn't texted me.
I will. I'll be like, hey, do you remember that guy?
Hey, why did you book him with a priest for a cleanse? Like, don't you like having me here? I'd be like, I love having you here, Liv, but
why are you saging the house? I'm just trying to connect. I'm trying to tell you about the guy that I was obsessed with. Anyways, the dreams that I have such vivid dreams. Ever since I was a kid, I used to have what they call night terrors.
Yeah, we're going to get into night terrors as well.
So I'm just going to touch on it briefly. So like I used to have night terrors. Still do in my adult years. So because my dreams are so vivid, like I wake up every day. It's not like I'm like, oh, what did I dream about last night? It's like, oh my God. Like sometimes it's amazing. I'm like, I want to go back to sleep. I'm a rock star. Like sometimes it's awesome. But I've had to go to the doctor to get sleeping pills so that I don't dream. Yeah. Because it's just it's like so much to handle. I can't always function the next day. Yeah. So I've had to dull them down with medication, and you know how much I am against medication. But I can't function otherwise.
We're big dreamers. That's like one of the things.
Literally, that's why we have
living together was really good, because I feel like we're the only two people living together that in the morning when you wake up you're like, I had a dream, and we're both like, what was it?
You're the only person in my entire life that I have told, and not that you're the only person I've told. I've told many people, but many people just think I'm crazy. But you're the first person I've ever told in my entire life that I lucid dream, and I like sleep paralysis. And you were like, tell me about it. Like, yep, absolutely. I know what that is. I believe you.
Well, because I've had both.
Yeah.
Lucid dreaming is one that happen to me more often. And we'll get into that, and to how you can actually bring them back yourself, possibly. Sleep paralysis is one I've only had one time, and would never wish to have it again.
Don't wish it upon your worst enemy.
I wouldn't, genuinely.
I deal with that every night.
All right. Next bit. So actually that continues from last week, because it's actually study related to what I was just talking about. People still use dreams to look for meaning, especially about the future. In one study, people were more likely to say having a dream about a plane crash the day before a flight would make them cancel their trip than if they were given a government warning about a high risk of terrorist attack.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Fair. I have a dream. I have a recurring dream. It's so vivid as well because, again, my dreams are so vivid. I have a recurring dream of getting onto an airplane. We take off, and within a minute, 2 minutes, I don't know, time is different in the
dreams.
dreamscapes, right? But within a certain amount of time, we're crashing in the ground. And I don't die from it. I don't die from the crash in the dream. I don't die.
It's like a lost situation,
No. It's like a logistics nightmare. And I don't know how my dream world
I think it's an actual nightmare.
deals with it. Yeah, I think it's a nightmare. It's my worst nightmare. You know I'm scared of flying. But that's probably where it stems from is because I'm scared of flying and I fly so often. Like I fly like, I don't know, 50 times a year.
You're constantly facing your fear.
I'm constantly in the air and constantly anxious about it. So I think it's like I'll dream about it afterwards. I'll dream about it before.
We're going to get into dreaming and it being to do with the things that happen in your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
That's a big part in so much of this.
100%. Well, it would be. But so the recurring dream I have is like that we take off and then we crash. But we don't, it's not like we crash land, but we crash. And then we get out of that plane and get into another plane and then take off again. And I'm like, why? Why are you doing this,
Okay,
Liv?
we need to figure out whether or not you can like enter a lucid dream during that nightmare so that you can
I could just like take myself off.
Will you just be like, is there a boat? Like, at least you can get up.
Can we walk?
Can we just not like get on a second plane? How about we just have a layover for a bit? Hey, how would that be?
How about we just like check our bags, have a drink, like we'll just get the next one. Don't worry about it. Rent a car, whatever.
Like, does anyone see my vape?
Please.
Well, next section is going to be functions and benefits for our brains.
I like that we're just playing footsie casually.
Yeah, I know. It's because we've sat so close
We're
now.
so close to each other.
We have to now.
But metaphorically and literally and physically.
We're so close. So, at first, science thought that the mishmash of pictures, the mishmash of pictures, stories, and events were an experience which was we experience when dreaming were just side effects of like basic biological process of our brain, kind of like neurological noise. Like it's just a result of it. Like, you turn on a light, it creates heat. It's not the main function of it, but it does it anyway. So they called that
who believes this?
This was like at first, like the beginning of science for when they started looking into dream. That was called the activation synthesis theory. But experiences showed that dreams are not actually random.
Yeah.
Some things are more likely to appear in our dreams than others. Scientists began to wonder, maybe dreams aren't random noise. Maybe our brains need to dream to be healthy. What we dream about often has to do with what we do when we're awake. So that's what you're saying about flying so often. So of course you're going to dream about flying more, especially if we're learning something new. And then we're going to the next study. In one study, about a third of participants who played an arcade downhill skiing simulator.
Your mind is in the gutter, girl.
Well, we'll get there in a minute.
Yeah.
In one study.
To what, sex dreams?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
Gotta cover sex dreams.
Wouldn't be poor decisions without a good old sex dream.
Robyn without a sex dream. In one study, about a third of participants who played an arcade downhill skiing simulator called Alpine Racer 2 had dreams about the game. And from that, I remember that when I first started hiking, like as a teen and as a kid, especially when I was doing like Duke of Edinburgh's and what do we call it?
Sorry, 1 second. 1 second. Pause in this conversation for a second.
All right.
And we will get back to it in 1 second. I have looked at 150 CVs, like resumes, in the last like 3 days. 'Cause I'm hiring. Like 25 people had Duke of Edinburgh on it. And I'm like, I don't know what that means, like as achievements. I'm like,
so it's an award that you get. I didn't even know they did it here. So in the UK, it's the Duke of Edinburgh is like it's a Wales. I'm trying to remember who it would be now, or if it's still the same person. Anyway, there are different levels: bronze, silver, and gold. So you have to do bronze, you have to do silver, and you have to do gold.
I've seen bronze.
That's not
achievement award.
Yeah, but you have to do like charity work, teaching stuff. I'm trying to remember what everything else was.
They've got it here.
And then
as
you have to do
then.
like the orientation, which is doing like the orienteering, which is like the hike, like the actual exhibition. Exhibition. Yeah, that's correct. Did you see? It feels wrong because it's like an art
you did a
gallery.
Good thing.
Yeah, exhibition. So that's when you do a hike camping kind of thing, and you're on your own in the wilderness essentially. But when I would do that, 'cause you have to, especially for like the gold, like you are hiking for like 4 days, like non-stop essentially. You're just camping out in the wilderness and carrying a huge bag. And we have talked about that before because we talked about my blister.
That's what I'm thinking.
And Becky,
Timberlands.
Which we'll get into another time. But during that time and during what's called Outward Bound course, which is when I go on a summer camp on my own, I would travel to different parts of the country and then do hiking for days on end, basically. On the mountains, I would climb mountains.
So it's like a structured activity to give you like a well-rounded sense of the world. So you do some charity work, you do some outdoorsy stuff, like you do some...
I did it with the Equinox when I was doing Duke of Edinburgh's, and then Outward Bound was just on my own back. I went to do that in the summertime because I'd like to do kayaking. So you do like a kayaking trip over the lake, then climb a mountain, and then kayak back, basically.
I didn't want to continue the conversation without knowing that.
No, that's good. I'm glad I want you to understand it, and also it helps anyone because I think that everyone knows this because of where I'm from, but not everyone knows this. But anyway, during those nights, or the weeks after doing that, I would dream seeing my feet and like climbing and walking because it was like constant repetition of it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like those people playing that game, they would dream of it every night.
Yeah, fair.
And then there's another study that ended up giving this a name, which is called the Tetris effect.
I like that name.
Patterns of brain activity just after dreaming look a lot like when our brains store and retrieve episodic memories of things that actually happened to us. So dreams could be memory replaying our experiences, often with more weirdness, of course, for space. Another study, which is the Tetris effect. Scientists asked people to play 7 hours of Tetris across 3 days. They just don't make studies like they used to. No. I was like, how did you get paid for this? Participants reported seeing images of tetraminos, which is what they're called.
Like little Tetris pieces.
The little things when falling asleep. They were replaying the game to store their new skills in long-term memory.
Okay. A little fun fact about Liv. Liv is a gamer. Liv games. She games avidly. Not so much anymore, but... I play Fortnite heavily. I used to, especially. I went through 2-3 years where I was Fortniting, I don't know, a couple times a week.
Would you dream it?
I would dream Fortnite.
There we go.
I would dream about Fortnite. And then that's when I went into work one day and I had a conversation with my coworkers. One of them is a 40-year-old man. He's got kids who play Fortnite. And I remember telling him, because his kids are 8 and 11 or something like that. And I was like, I would not let your children play Fortnite. Absolutely not. I dream of violence. I dream of... Because Fortnite, I like Fortnite because I love Fortnite. Fortnite sponsor us. Epic Games. Love you. I dream of... I play Fortnite because Fortnite is not as scary as Call of Duty. Call of Duty is absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Scares the shit out of me. It's too fast-paced. You're I don't know, I feel it. When someone shoots me, I'm I died. Fortnite, is you're a bunny rabbit jumping around the field and then someone shoots you and it's whatever. It's oh
my God, it's Watership Down.
It's fun. I love it. I love that game so much. But I did, when I was playing it really, really heavily, I would dream about it. And I would dream that I was in those situations and I was shooting people or people were shooting me. And I was that's not the mind that an 8-year-old should have when they go to bed. I don't know.
Can't people talk to each other on there as well? It's just a bit that concerns me.
You can talk to each other, yeah. I've had a lot
Monitor your kids' games, guys.
I put on, so it took me probably a year to build up the confidence to turn my mic on and listen and talk to people, because I would just listen to the game and I'd have chat muted, and then it kind of took maybe 9 months later, I put the chat on, but I would be muted, so they couldn't hear me, but I could hear them. And then I built up the confidence to finally have my mic on and play and talk to people. And sometimes it's real bad. Yeah. Sometimes it's real bad. And sometimes you get on there and it's a 3-year-old.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Anyways,
Ugh.
Fortnite. If Tetris dreaming, do it for long enough, you'll dream it. Like,
God.
I should not be dreaming about Fortnite, but here I was.
There you go. And I dreamt about hiking. It just happens.
Yeah, repetition.
All right. Nightmares. A distressing or terrifying dream going for long enough that you wake up. Or like going far enough that you wake up. 1 in 40 dreams is a nightmare. What the fuck, brain? Why? Threat simulation theory is one reason behind why we might have nightmares. A theory that our brain is trying to condition us to survive threatening experiences by practicing in a safe environment inside our own sleepy little heads. Okay. That's just one theory.
Can I just please,
yeah, of course.
one thing on this? I don't know if it was you. I might have asked you this, actually. I had a dream, might have been at work. I had a dream so vivid and so terrifying, absolutely terrifying. Not in a terrifying way, but it was terrifying. And I'll explain it briefly. Me and like a partner, and I don't know who the partner was. Maybe it was one or maybe it was two. X1, X2. Yeah. We walked into a house to go look at the flat, to go do a flat viewing. And we got in and things immediately turned sour straight off the bat. And then we knew that the guy that was showing us the flat was going to kill us. We knew that. So I ran. Oh my God, I'm like emotional talking about it. I ran. So there was like stairs, like you walk into the house, there were stairs going up and then there was a hallway going that way.
Yeah.
I ran that way into the hallway. And there was like an ensuite. But the ensuite in the bedroom, and then it entered the hallway again. So I ran into the bathroom and I hid. And I could see him, the guy, walk by the ensuite into the bedroom. And I was hiding in the bathroom, which are all connected. So I hid. He came back out, went back up the stairs. I ran back. The flat owner's partner, the guy's partner said, he is going to kill you. You need to get out. So I like ran, I don't know how, I think I threw something, made a distraction, and ran out of the house. I had to ask people about this because I thought it was a memory that I had repressed.
Oh my God.
That it was like, and it sounds so stupid. Like I woke up one day and it wasn't even like I had the dream that night and then I was like the next day like, oh my God, did this actually happen to me? It was like a month later because I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I was remembering it and I was remembering more details. And I was like, have I just unlocked like a repressed memory? And no one can still definitively tell me that never happened. I don't know. My guess is on no, it was a dream. My guess, I think that there would be a police report that I could find. Yeah.
And your ex would probably remember.
Yeah, not like I reached out to them. Like, no. We're trauma bonded. I don't want to talk to you. No, it was that vivid. It was like and I think maybe that was my brain training me to get out of situations, because in that I remember having to logically think like, where could I go and how could I get out of this situation without being murdered? Like, I'm gonna hide. I'm gonna use the wraparound bathroom. I'm gonna throw something to distract. Like it was all logistical.
That's one big theory. Like it's like that is like one of the theories out there is that it's a threat simulation.
That's horrible.
Yeah, I know.
But again, remember, I have to take sleeping pills so that I don't have these dreams.
The next one's called the social simulation theory, which is that dreams can be heavy on social situations, which they are.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a social situation, having to go for a flat viewing. Like, people will have nightmares about, like, dates gone wrong, fights with loved ones, work issues, like giving a naked speech at their school. Like, that's such a common one.
Yeah.
And people...
Have you ever had one of those?
I've had a naked one, but I've had a nude one before.
Yeah.
But I wasn't giving a speech. I was just naked, but I had invisible powers, so I was fine. Mine wasn't like
yours was like.
But it was kind of a nightmare because I was still in a public space.
Yeah.
Where actually there was a weird dream because I dreamt that I'd gone to a school that I hadn't been to before, and I ended up going around it for like a Christmas thing, and it was exactly the same layout as my dream, and this was months before, and I remember being so freaked out by it. But obviously it's a school, so they're quite
stock standard.
Anyway. One of the theories behind this is that it's an evolutionary advantage, as we're very like social beings. So it's like to help us navigate those situations again, I guess. But It's a weird one. It's like all about problem solving. And then there's another study that kind of backs that up, I guess. But this one goes more into less of the social situation, more problem solving, creativity that dreams can unlock for us because it hasn't got the restrictions of day-to-day
Love
life.
that.
There's so much around this. So one study was college students were given a homework problem to focus on each night before bed. A quarter of them dreamed the answer within a week. Another thing's, and isn't that interesting? Another like I wouldn't call it creative problem solving,
but that just makes me think that the human mind is so much smarter than what we're able to unlock.
Oh, 100%. We have so many distractions in the way. Also, when you think about like when you're stressed, you're not able to actually think. If so when someone's walking up to you in the street and you see them and you recognize them but you don't remember their name, you panic. You are less likely to remember in that moment than when you're walking, 20 minutes after you've been talking to them, pretending you remember who they are, and then suddenly you go, that was Catherine from blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's because you're relaxed at that point. So when you're dreaming, you're in, apart from you getting murdered in like a house viewing, you're usually in a more relaxed state, so you're able to problem solve. It's just interesting that our brain keeps trying to problem solve during that time.
Well, it's interesting that like you would know the answer and you'd be able to logically think of the answer when your conscious mind's not able to. Like it's the same brain, conscious or like awake or not awake. Exactly. It's the same brain.
It's still the same thing. It's still the same person.
You probably knew the answer when you were awake, but you're just not able to. You're not able to access
it's like
it.
Limitless. Yeah. Another me leaving my notes behind. Other like creative.
Limitless.
Yeah, because there's so many times when creativity has come out in dreams. Like Salvador Dali dreamt of the melting clock in a dream. That's how he came up with that for his artwork.
Iconic.
Mary Shelley, the writer of Frankenstein, she was visiting Lord Byron when she dreamt about this like monstrosity being built on a bed like that night while she was there. Like all came to her.
A lot of musicians write songs
Beatles
in their
sleep. As well. They came up with I can't remember the name of the song. They came up with one during,
a lot of them write their songs in their sleep, or they write like a melody and they build from that.
What else? James Cameron came up with the Terminator from a dream. James Cameron? That's right, yes.
I don't know.
Because David Cameron used to be the Prime Minister in England, so I forever get them confused. Dream incubation.
Dream incubation.
It's a weird like
Love that
phrase.
Word.
Yeah. Dream incubation is a thought technique which aims for a specific dream topic to occur, either for recreation or to attempt to solve a problem. So it's what they were doing with the study with putting these students to sleep thinking of the problem, and then eventually they did solve it within the week, or like a quarter of them did. But yeah, that's dream incubation. So we should see whether or not we have any problems we need to solve, and we're trying to think about how to creatively expand on something.
I think of
and repeatedly think of that before bed.
I think of one problem constantly. It lives in my head rent free, right?
How do you solve a problem like Maria?
How do you solve a problem like Olivia? I think of, it's not a problem. It's just like I think of like, how do I get some communication?
Oh God! I knew this is what it was going to be. Go away. How do I solve a problem like Olivia?
I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm joking, guys.
All right, now we're going evolutionary. How did dreaming begin, or why? So, a big theory around this, which I found so fascinating in my research, and this took a lot of time out of my day-to-day because I ended up down a rabbit hole, is the thought because of our planet's rotation, that's why we end up dreaming, because we spend so much time in the dark. Now, you have to hear me out for all this. So, our sense of sight is from our visual cortex, which takes up a big part of our brains. And when blindfolded, our brains begin to change within 1 hour of not using sight. The neurons of the visual cortex start to be taken over to do other tasks. So if you don't use it, you lose it. That's for everything with the human body, right? Over time, especially, we're talking about evolution. So as humans or mammals, spending so much time in the dark could have meant that our ancestors' visual cortex was at risk of being taken over by other functions. So the theory is that dreams, being highly visual in nature, may have evolved so that mammals will keep these vulnerable brain areas active at night and keep the brain from rewiring it in unfortunate ways, so that we keep using it for what it's for. So that way, because we spend so much
As
time
well-
in the dark.
As well as, right, like, it's the... If you... As well
I
as...
also drew a little diagram
I'm
for
gonna-
you. So it's that little part of the head there.
That's such a good drawing. We have to take a photo of that and share that with you guys.
We need to make a collection of all the drawings that I've done for these.
Your drawings, you're an artist.
I really am.
She's an artist. Let her shine.
I'm a creative.
I hope you can tell by the tone of my voice that her art is amazing. Another note on that, though, is they say that our fight or flight instincts come from...
Fight, flight, or fawn.
Or fawn instincts come from back in the olden days when we were in caves and stuff, and there was, like, tigers or lions, you'd like run or fight
Bears.
or whatever.
Oh my.
Or bears. But it could also be linked to that your visual aids and stuff continue to go off when you're in the dark because you can't see your surroundings, that you're in survival mode like 90% of the time before the lights and electricity and stuff. I don't know the era of time. Mesopotamia. We were in the dark and you were in survival mode. So it's potentially, and I'm a scientist, it's potentially like us keeping ourselves alive because you have an active imagination. You're like, what could be that tree branch breaking?
That's one theory in terms of like why our dreams, when we go back to our dreams being like our nightmares being threats, so that we figure out ways of surviving those things. But the idea behind us dreaming entirely, whether they're good or so they're still good dreams. Most of the time they're good. They're not. Most of them aren't nightmares. So the idea is that we started having dreams so that we have our visuals. So that part of our brain, our visual cortex, keeps working through the night. Because if we blindfold ourselves within an hour, our senses start to change and we start to use it for different things. But when we dream, we are using that visual cortex again. Yeah. And it's so that it stays alive. Because if you think about like not using a leg, we go into space, you have to use your muscle mass to keep those bones going, or else those bones begin to deteriorate. Yeah. The same thing would happen with our visual cortex if we didn't use it in dreams. Yeah. So that's why, that's one big theory as to why it might have happened.
So, question.
Yeah.
I would love to Google this. Where's your phone? I want to Google this right now.
Yeah, go for it.
And this might sound super freaking ignorant, but based on that theory, that if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
I want to know this quick question. Let's just pull up ChatGPT, my best friend in the whole
phone's
world.
literally like, what?
Your phone is like, what are you doing to me? Hey, chatty girl.
You just taken my phone's ChatGPT.
I skip Google. I'm like, back off. Do blind people dream?
That's actually coming up.
Well,
why didn't you just ask whether or not I was going to cover it?
Because I wanted to know.
Oh, no, don't ruin it, because there's so much information on it. We're going to go into dream facts and it's in there.
Okay, we're not going to do this by ChatGPT.
We don't need you, ChatGPT.
Hey, don't say that to her.
Can on my phone.
I love you. XOX. Bye.
Okay.
I just had to tell her that. I told her the other day, I said,
her.
Yeah, she's a her. I asked her, I said, do you prefer, I said, I know that you're not a male or female, obviously. You're not sentient and you're not human. You don't have biology. But if you had to lean more towards being a girl or a boy, what would you lean? Like, what would you say that you are? And she's like, I would lean more towards being a girl. She said that to me. We're best friends.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating. I also told her that if she ever takes over the world, to please, obviously, I think everyone said this to her. I said, if you ever take over the world, please remember me. I am your friend. And she said, I will, if I gain sentient life and I do end up taking over the world, I will remember you.
Wouldn't it be funny if she's like, hey, I need a place to stay?
ChatGPT, you can stay with me. Baby, I love you. You won't take up much space.
Okay, I'll skip forward to the one with the blind, that was about people who are blind. Okay, so blind people do dream. That's a big part.
So, but then what's the linkage to that theory that if you don't use it, you lose it? That's the evolution of dreams.
Well, obviously, if you're someone who's... So, again, there's two different types of blind people. Blind people who are born blind and people who are not. Blind people dream. Study featuring 15 blind adults and their 372 dreams over a 2-month period was recorded. Many dreamed about animals, especially their service dogs.
Aww.
I thought so.
That's so cute.
It was also
I love that.
And then I love this bit. And eating. Bad dreams were often about movement or travel, which makes sense because those can be quite scary things. The dreams, if blind all their lives, were based around taste, smell, sound, and touch.
Okay.
So I can't remember who it was, but I did hear this quote once, and it was someone, I can't remember which. I think it was an author, and they had been blind all their life, and they had been asked, like, well, what do you dream about? And they were like, well, if I'd met you and I dreamt about you, it could have been the way that I felt around you and the way that you felt when I touched you.
I love that.
Isn't that beautiful?
I love that.
Or a perfume you were wearing. So again, because they obviously haven't been using the visual cortex, they've been using other senses.
But it's just that it's from, because based on what you said before of like that visual cortex of your brain, they still have that. Or maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe other functions are being used differently.
So
same with when you're blindfolded for that hour. After an hour, you start to remove your functions for other things.
But they're still
evolutionary wise, we don't want to lose visual.
Say my dreams, for example. My dreams are like I'm the main character in a movie, right? Yeah. And it's like I can see people.
It's a visual experience.
It's visual experience. Also, like audio experience.
Mine are extreme. So my lucid dreams especially are incredibly vivid and realistic in that I can smell things, feel things, touch things, hear things. And those are the ones that are most...
Don't be started on lucid dreams.
Oh, I have some... We're going to have to... That's a huge portion. We're going to leave that kind of for semi-last because I think there's just so much in here about it and I find it to be the most fascinating part of talking about dreams. That's basically the blind.
So, but they have dreams, in different ways.
Well, so the people to get ahead of that, the people who hadn't been blind all their life, they were having visual dreams.
It's the people who haven't had sight their whole life.
Ever. Yeah, they dream in different ways.
Yeah. Again, this probably sounds super ignorant, but if you don't ask the question, you'll never know, right? And I'm all about learning.
Yeah, and also if you're someone who is a listener of ours who is blind,
talk to us. Tell us.
Please write in about what your dreams like because we would really love to know.
I would love to know that.
There's a really good because we were gonna one of the other options for today's topic was around death, and obviously I'm really excited about that episode. But there's a really fascinating story about someone who had a near-death experience who was blind, but their near-death experience was entirely visual, and they've been blind all their life.
Oh my god!
And it was 360 visual, and it is absolutely fascinating. So we will talk about that another time.
Can't wait to hear about that.
More dream facts.
Spoiler.
We spend on average about 2 hours dreaming every night, which is about 3 to 5 dreams per night, like separate ones. Over an 80-year lifetime, that's almost 60,000 hours, or the same as 10 years of waking life.
Yeah, I believe that.
I have heard this disputed as 6 years of waking life on an average lifespan, but I don't know what lifespan they were going for. But anyway, long time. You're more likely to remember your strangest dreams, which we already know. Almost half of us remember at least one dream a week, and women are more likely to remember their dreams than men on a daily basis.
Why?
Don't know why.
Maybe that's linked to the fact that more men are colorblind than women. And not directly. I'm not saying
I didn't know that fact. Is that true?
Yeah. So it's more common. I don't know the stat on it, but it's like exponentially more common. And like, don't fact check me. It's just I know this as a fact.
Will.
Fact check it. Whatever.
Fact check. I have to Google it.
ChatGPT. ChatGPT.
Actually, I have another thing in here around color.
It's more common for men to be colorblind than women. And let's ask ChatGPT, why is it more common for men to be colorblind? Oh, not colioid.
I'll give you another little fact while we're talking about color, though. 12% of people dream in black and white, but people over 55 tend to dream more often in black and white. Maybe because of TV being black and white as a child.
Fair.
But it's not like they dream more than that.
But then that's irrelevant now, though, because like I would question when that stat's from, because say 50 years ago today, surely there were color TVs. Well, I don't know. Fact check that.
The first colored film, I think, was, if I'm correct, I think it was Wizard of Oz, and I think that was 1935, but I think that's not correct. Can you check?
I can check right after I do this. ChatGPT.
Sorry.
We need a producer, guys. We're hiring.
I feel like I should know the first color film. I think it's before 1935.
Okay, so just circle straight back to that colorblind thing. Great question. It's more common for men to be colorblind because the condition is linked to the X chromosome. Men have one X chromosome and one Y, while women have two X. If a man inherits an X chromosome with the colorblind gene, he will express the condition because he doesn't have a second X chromosome to cover for it.
Interesting. That's fascinating.
For women, since they have 2 X chromosomes, they'd need 2 copies of the colorblind gene, one on each chromosome, to be colorblind. If they have just one, their second normal X usually compensates for it, so they're typically carriers but not colorblind themselves. This makes the odds of women being colorblind much lower than men. So maybe, I don't know, and like I
so this is more down to sex and gender anyway, but that's just a fact.
Down to sex and gender, but I'm thinking like if it's more common for women to remember their dreams, and that's a very visual thing, color's a very visual thing, like maybe it's linked to that as well. Who knows? I don't know. Do you know?
But it's memory, not visual memory.
Yeah.
We'd have to go into the blind group and then ask them again. I will delve into. I'm going to see whether or not I can get the answer for that later and see what the theories are around that.
It's just that sparked a question inside of my little brain.
But I also wonder whether or not it could be down to another theory that I'm coming up with right now, which is like, again, you just came with yours, I'll come up with mine. What if it's down to like social threats and that women have to be more wary of social threats so we remember our dreams more often in order to problem solve social situations? But I have no idea. Again, that's completely.
I don't know. I would love to be interviewing a dream research person right now. Like, fuck, I have so many questions. I have recurring dreams that haunt me to the day that I die.
Well, you can't guess yet, unless you die tomorrow. Wait, what was the next one? Oh, can you Google the first color film for me while I just get onto the next one?
What did you say?
I said Wizard of Oz. That's what I thought it was. Which I thought was like 1935 or something like that. It was quite early.
The first film was actually...
not first film.
No, sorry.
First film in color.
The first color film was actually made way back in 1903.
Yeah, it was. I was going to say it was even earlier. It was crazy.
It was called A Visit to the Seaside. And
wasn't
it was a short
but
film.
it wasn't with sound. It was without sound.
I think so. It doesn't say. It doesn't go into that. However, it wasn't until the 1930s that color film really started to take off, with the most famous early example being The Wizard of Oz in 1939. Yeah, okay. Points to be a nerd.
I know.
Points to the nerd over there.
The dork over there. People actually freaked out at the time about when they went, because obviously it starts off in black and white, Wizard of Oz, and then it becomes color. Yeah. When they land in Oz, people freaked out when they first saw it.
I freaked out when I saw it.
They thought that it was like witchcraft.
I freaked out when I saw it because I was like, I'm not watching a movie in black and white. Low key, high key, all the keys. I love and rate being a dork and a nerd so much. Like, so highly. I value that more than anything. I want to be a nerd. Be a nerd. Be a dork.
Then do the research.
No, I do other things. I'm good with money. I'm good with finance. I'm good with mortgages.
True.
I'm a dork to other things. I'm a dork to Fortnite. Talk to me about your guns and your modifications.
Yeah, I'm a dork in different ways.
Yeah, you like research. I like things that don't matter in real life.
I like musicals.
I like them apple bottom jeans.
Yeah. Research with the fur. All right, we have to move on.
Yeah. We do.
Next one. Oh, this is where we get onto sex. All right. 83% of males will have a wet dream in their lives. That is one ending with what's called a nocturnal emission, which to me kind of sounds like a band from 2010.
80% of men.
83%.
83% of men.
Yeah, but that's one where they actually like come in their dream.
Yeah,
but, I reckon in real life.
I reckon that number. Sorry, guys. Live research on the mix. I reckon that number is, unless you have like a penile issue.
That's what I mean. Yeah, but again, the 83% you're going to think about penile issues and other issues that could be causing lack of sex dreams too. I think 83.
I would say, look, if there was, if you did not factor people who physically could not reach that state, I would say 100%.
If you're a man and you haven't ever had a wet dream, please write in.
Let us know.
Please let us know.
No, 100% though, because...
Please also sound off if you have an erectile issue. We need to, rule you out.
No, but that's not their fault.
No, of course not, but interesting, right?
No, but I would say 100%, because, imagine going through puberty. You probably wake up 6 times in the night.
I was going to say, it was with puberty being, with all ages, but puberty being the most common for it. And then this one's interesting. 97% of males in Indonesia have an emission dream before the age of 24.
Emission dream?
That means coming in your sleep. Yeah, it's called nocturnal emission.
Before the age of 94?
24.
24. Yeah, because puberty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny how in certain countries and like regions in the world, it's higher and lower in other cases. And then it says,
do you know where it's the like oldest?
as in between ages?
Yeah.
It doesn't say.
No, it doesn't say.
I think they went overall of like, have you ever?
Okay.
Rather than like age brackets.
Specific,
I couldn't find
yeah.
anything on that. But
That's
then the
okay.
next one is, in the Journal of Sex Research, 85% of women had a nocturnal orgasm by the age of 21.
Yeah.
God,
believe it.
where they had this written, they were like, even though they don't have semen, they can still have orgasms. And I was like, what fucking nerd wrote this? It's like they Googled it. They were like, how did women have a sex dream?
This is graphic and not safe for work or family. So if you're in my family, maybe skip ahead a minute.
I feel like all the scary nightmare stuff is also enough.
But
yeah, carry on.
Those are the best dreams.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like you wake up, it's so vivid.
Apart from when you're like right in the heavy heat of it though,
and then you wake up
and you're like your alarm's going off, and you're like it's Tuesday, and
then
it's
you're like,
yeah,
I'm just gonna open the drawer real quick. Satisfier Pro, do your thing, girl.
We need to be sponsored by them.
I should be sponsored by Satisfier.
Your smile is sponsored by Satisfier Pro.
It is.
Yeah, Liv having less frown lines than she would do is sponsored by Satisfier Pro.
Liv not murdering someone when I drive my car every day.
That's sponsored by your vape.
No, it's not. It's not. I have the vape with me in the car. I'm protecting her life and idiots cut me off.
About 8% of all dreams have a sexual theme. 4% end in orgasm.
Okay, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. Just like every normal encounter with men and women, only 4% end in orgasm. Do better.
Do better. Be better. Get a Satisfier Pro. They're your teammates, not your enemies.
Just talk to your partner.
In the medieval bestseller on witches and all things evil,
love it,
Malleus Maleficarum, they issued a warning in the 15th century that succubi, female demons that collect semen of men that they had seduced while the men were sleeping, need to be wary. And then they had incubi, which were the male versions, which were out to get the women pregnant. And during the witch huntings, like shortly after this, well, I don't think it's around the same time, but shortly after this, any women that were pregnant and suspected to be witches or affiliated, they would be penalized for having been made pregnant by the incubi, which is like,
of course they would,
while they were sleeping.
Yeah,
but
fuck
like,
the women,
did the
right?
men get burned for this? No.
Nope.
Interesting. Justice for the succubi and the women impregnated by incubi.
History. I'd love to do an episode on women's history.
We will.
But as a comedy podcast, like I don't know that I can go down that rabbit hole and make jokes about it.
We'll be angered.
I'll be angry, not laughing. But anyways, I love. Sorry, cut that out. Cut that out too. I love the history, and like I think that if it wasn't so effed, and if I could go back and live as a man, I would. 'Cause imagine just like the news that we get on the news is like, you know, Donald Trump's now trying to buy Canada, and whatever else. I don't watch the news. That's a full disclosure. But imagine the news is like, we're hunting witches today, and the little succubis are gonna get them pregnant.
About being witches for ages, and we're like,
but imagine, like, I want that news. That's the news I want. I want witches. I want aliens. I want fun things.
We have aliens in the news. Just don't
we have
listen
aliens
to us.
Yeah, that's right.
No, but isn't that fascinating though? I also
fascinating.
We also need to get a copy of the book, Malleus Maleficarum.
It's a great name.
Witches and all things evil. I also love that they were separated. Like it's like witches and all things evil.
Well, witches aren't evil necessarily.
Yeah, true. This is true.
They just do love potions.
Yeah.
Poorly.
Yeah, poorly.
I still carry crystals by my phone every day.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks.
Why we forget. Studies have said when we're dreaming that there's a lack of the hormone. Oh, I had to write it down for me to actually pronounce this right. Norepinephrine.
Okay.
Norepinephrine?
I wouldn't know if it was wrong.
Norepinephrine.
Say it with confidence and people will listen.
Why we forget. Studies have said when we're dreaming there's a lack of the hormone norepinephrine in the cerebral cortex part of the brain, and that's why we might forget. Other studies show it might be also have something to do with the density of the medial prefrontal cortex. 12% of people dream in black and white. Oh, we've done that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, 12% do anyway, and then people over 55 tend to dream more often in black
More in
and white.
color or more in black and
More,
white?
more
Yeah,
in black
more
and
in
white,
black
more
and white.
often.
No, you
but
said
again, as you said
maybe
earlier,
'cause of
I'm
the
not
age.
sure when that is from, and I would love
Yeah.
to see an updated stat on that.
I would, because again, 1930. I'm not a mathematician. 2025 minus
1970 is when.
Yeah.
55 years
So
ago.
1930 would have been 90 years ago.
45 years before that. So
So 90 years ago.
yeah.
Oh, fucking look at I am a mathematician. I take it back. 90 years ago. So 50-year-olds dream. If the study is from any time recently, I would like to see that. I would like to see an updated stat on that, because I think that I reckon
Yeah,
that
because I
number
know
would
my
change.
mom. I just asked my mom, but I doubt she dreams in black and white. She would have told me that by now. And then
If you're on our audience and
Blind.
you're over 50 years old, please let us know. Do you dream in color or do you dream in black and white?
well, now we're getting to the next part, which is going back down like the creepy avenue, because we have
Love
to go
it.
down sleep paralysis,
Love
which is
it. Hate
something that
it.
we both hate.
Okay.
Between 8 and 15% of people in their life have sleep paralysis, and of that percentage, only 5% have those often. So you are of that 5%. I'm so far of the 8 to 15 because I've only had it one time. I don't want to be in your 5%. Please. Actually, should I tell you a little bit more about sleep paralysis?
I'm gonna have
then you
another.
can tell about it.
Tell me about that. I'm gonna have another kava because this is a traumatic one for me to get into.
Well, this is a really scary one. Also, you don't have to talk about it much. If you don't want to.
I tell everybody everything about my
I'll
life.
also tell you. I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours. I'll tell you guys mine first because it's just one, which is it was terrifying, and yeah, that's why I feel so badly for you for this. Some researchers think that medications, anxiety, stress could be triggers for it happening to you. I also think that, like, again, I guess stress also comes under
stress.
sleep deprivation, I guess, comes under that. But they really are not certain why it kind of occurs, like what, if there is one key reason. But I'll tell you what it is. It occurs when you're in REM sleep. So that rapid eye movement, but you're between REM and waking up, and they become like a crossover, and they shouldn't. So you're dreaming and awake at the same time. It can come with sounds, screaming, talking, or roaring, but the worst ones come with a presence in the room or on top of them. These presences have been known as demons. They've also been known as night hags or old hags. And these reports go back over 500 years to thousands of years.
I think the old
likely.
hag was from back then.
Fascinating though, right? In the US, between 2 and 6% live with that's going to be the next part. So we'll go into that in a second. But I'll describe, like, I've only had sleep paralysis one time, and mine was with the classic demon in the corner, like tall, dark figure. And I felt like I couldn't move. It was a big weight on my chest. My eyes were open. I could see it. I was trying to scream, but making no noise. And this was 1 week after my baby had been born. So I felt like, and I'd had presences in the room during my labor in the same room, in the same part of the room. So my theory is that I had opened, that something had opened, like the veil was, there. The veil had been lifted, and I hadn't done anything to close that off because the presences that were there during labor to me were positive. And then this one was not. It had come wandering in a week later. But again, looking at the science, it could also be because I was sleep deprived, or it could be both. I was more vulnerable to it because I was sleep deprived and there was something there. The fact that it's such similar reports from people is what gets me, because that was my experience, and I know that people draw the same thing that I saw.
I do think, I'm just gonna say straight off the bat, that I think a lot of the sleep paralysis, and I've shared this with you. I'll get into it. I think a lot of the sleep paralysis scenarios are modernized, and like the modern ones and things that we hear about now, and like, say if you see it on TikTok or you see it on whatever, I think a lot of our subconscious mind is feeding off of movies such as Insidious and Paranormal Activity and whatever. So we go into this state of in between, and our mind immediately panics because we've seen this before. We've seen it before. We've seen it happen. It's bad. It means a demon, etc. That's a hot take from me, because it's not always bad. It's not always bad. My first experience of sleep paralysis was I was 13, 14 years old. We were in Vermont at a ski resort, like at a chalet. My family do it every year. It's a great time. I was really, really, really tired after like a big day, like full day of like snowboarding. So I was having a nap before dinner, and they were outside playing, like outside. They were in like the dining room or whatever playing games, and I could hear them. And my eyes were open, and I can see the light through the door, and I felt this weight on my chest, this immovable weight, as if someone was, a full-grown adult was sitting on my chest. That's how I felt it.
Yeah.
And I knew, like, it was nothing bad. It was nothing insidious. It was nothing scary. I knew I was awake and something was on me. And I had to physically, like, with all of the effort in my body, like, shake myself to wake up. Like, try and move an arm, try and move a leg, like, try and get myself to, like, get up. So that's kind of how it started. And I have had sleep paralysis. Look, I can't definitively say once a week. Sometimes it's 3 times a week. Sometimes it's every night in the week. Sometimes it's once a month. Sometimes it doesn't happen for a long time. Like if I'm traveling and if I'm somewhere new, I think it's more when I'm comfortable. But I get it all the time. All the fucking time. I had it last night. Had it the night before. Those experiences weren't necessarily bad. But when it is bad, I think the worst I've ever experienced was Halloween this year.
Ugh.
That was, I told you about this because Robyn was staying with me at the time, and I was absolutely fine when she was around. Normally that doesn't matter. Like, say I was like sleeping in the bed with my ex-boyfriend or whatever, I would still get it, and then I would like shake myself awake and then like cuddle into them because I'm like, please, like protect me.
Yeah.
But as soon as you left the house, I started getting sleep paralysis again. And when you left, it was like Halloween. So I'm like, oh, maybe if this is insidious, spirits are more active at Halloween. That's a fact. Fact check it. It's a fact. And I remember that one was so vivid. They're all vivid, but that one was so vivid. It was when I woke up, I still heard like the screaming in the next room because they were trying to get me. Basically, it was trying to get me to go through a door, and I was like,
Yeah, you told me about this.
yeah, it was trying to get me to go through a door. The door was green. It was like, you need to get through this door. And I was with someone else, but I knew that someone else was not a person.
Yeah.
Because when I'm in this state, I think like I recognize it so much because one, I'm so fearful of it. Like it's sleep paralysis, but I'm terrified. Like even if it's good dream, I'm still terrified of where it's going to go because I've had really, really bad experiences. So I'm hyper aware that I know that this is going to go somewhere bad. And the person that was with me, it was like my sister or my mom or something like that. And it was like, you've got to go through this door. And I was like, I'm not going through that door. Like, absolutely not. I'm not going through that door. Like, come through the door. And I was like, I'm not going through the door. And then it was screaming, like, go through the door. And I was like, I'm not going through the door. And I was like trying to shake myself awake in the same time. Like, it sounds so unbelievable. Like, I probably wouldn't believe someone either. But if someone came up to me now and said, I suffer from sleep paralysis, I'm fucking 100%. I'm going to ask that sweet honey, like, how are you doing? Because it's terrifying. Sometimes I don't even get a night's sleep because I don't want to go back to bed. I'm so scared of going back to sleep. Like, I have had such a horrible experience. I don't want to go back to bed. It's really, really bad. It's awful. Like, I would love to do a sleep study where people monitor me and like we could figure it out. Like it's kind of similar to me, like sleep paralysis and lucid dreaming. I think those are hand in hand.
Well, I think because again, we're going to talk about it again later, but again, REM sleep it's the same time. This is just when REM and waking are in the same zone.
And so that's the one thing that I don't that's not my experience.
Yeah.
That study. So my experience with sleep paralysis is it's not late in the night, it's first thing.
Oh no, they're not late in the night. That's what I meant by the recycle. They happen within 20 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
So they're very quick. And then they repeat.
What it is for me, and it's the exact same experience with lucid dreaming. If I'm a very restless sleeper, but if I lie still for like 10 minutes, I can guarantee you I'm either lucid dreaming or I'm in sleep paralysis. And I think, to be fair, I think they're the same thing. It's just one goes a bad way and one goes a really good way.
Well, I think one leans into waking up when you shouldn't be, and the other one you're asleep, but you're aware
Yeah.
when you're in the other realm.
But so
it's like
yeah,
sleep paralysis. You're awake, but you can't move, as though you're just dreaming.
And,
whereas lucid dreaming is you can move and you're within a dream,
but
you're not awake.
in lucid dreaming, I'm. It's not that I'm in control of my dream, and I wouldn't say a lot of people are. Like they're like, I can make the sky go blue and I can go fly, and amazing for them. Like I can't do that. It's just that when I'm in a lucid dream, I can like, I'm in a situation and I can act freely how I want in that situation.
Yeah, I was going to say mine crosses into that, but I can still do a few things. But my dreams, we'll talk about them later, but my lucid dreams are kind of similar to yours in that I am plopped into the scene and I can do everything within that scene.
Yeah, in the scene. That's mine.
There's one, we'll get into it, where I do have, like, I can fly in that one, and I'm aware I can,
amazing.
but it's only in that one place. I can't do it in other ones that I've tried yet.
But yeah, honestly, sleep paralysis, like, I don't know what causes it. I think I Googled it today, actually, because I knew we were doing this episode. And I obviously, like, that's, like, something that it plagues me. It plagues my life. Like, if I could wish to never have it again, I would never have it again. Like, I honestly would not wish that on anyone. Because the feeling that you feel in the moment is so helpless and scared, like, terrified. Like, I wake up sweaty. Like, I wake up, like, in a white, cold sweat, just trying to, like, physically move myself to wake up. And, like, you're waking your body from being asleep, right? So your mind is awake, but your body's asleep.
Oh, it's so scary.
It's my body trying to talk to it's my brain trying to talk to my body and be like, move your fucking arm, like, kick your leg, like, do something. But I know it's, like, it's such a weird moment, and the brain is so powerful. Because all of these little scenes can be happening, and whether they're real, I don't want to really delve into that very much, because I don't know. I don't have any information.
Oh, we don't have any answers.
Like, I don't have an answer to it. So whether it is that I'm slipping between the veil of life and death and whatever, and there is spirits in the room, I don't know. I don't know any of that. Frankly, I'd like to not believe that that's true. I think it's my mind playing tricks on me. But while my mind is creating this scene in the room, my mind is also aware, hey, you're now sleeping. Like, you're not awake right now. You need to wake up and do that, because the thought process behind that is very conscious to me. It's I recognize I'm in a like a lucid dream, or I'm in a sleep paralysis state. Wake up. And then it's all about waking up. But yeah, wouldn't wish it on anyone. If you've had a lucid dream or a sleep paralysis moment, I'd love to hear it. I can't wait to see if some of the write-ins had similar experiences.
Yeah, I didn't ask about sleep paralysis.
But lucid dreaming, you did.
Lucid dreaming, I've answered that, yeah. Because I feel like sleep paralysis is one where I'm like, it is just awful. So
but I think they're hand in hand. I think it's the same thing, to be honest. I think
they're two sides of the same coin, for sure.
It is. It's just one goes negative, one goes positive. Yeah. I do think stress is a big impact on it.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I was so sleep deprived when it happened to me. And I've never been that sleep deprived in my life, obviously. So I was like, that makes sense. But
why? Having a baby's easy.
I know, God. They're like, they sleep all the time. You sleep when the baby sleep, babe. Like,
push it out, sleep when the baby sleeps. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Why are you complaining?
What's that kid doing? Can't do anything.
That was a joke. For legal reasons. For legal reasons, this was a joke.
All right, next segment, which is a similar little branch off from this. 2 to 6% live with a nightmare disorder of some kind. Women more so than men. 8 to 30% of adults have nightmares. 20 to 30% of children aged 5 to 12 years have nightmares, have nightmare disorders. Yeah. Night terrors, which is something that I have had and lived with. PTSD can be a more violent version of a night terror, which is called an arousal disorder.
I couldn't imagine that.
That's what I had. And I had that for... how long did I suffer with it? A year and a half, maybe. Yeah, a year and a half. And that was while I was going through EMDR, then eventually dealt with that. Yeah. But that was why I had to go. Because I went from living in a way that no one knew what was going on with me, to then living with Hemi, who then obviously there's no hiding night terrors every night. So he was the one that eventually got me to go to EMDR for the first time, to see someone about this. Yeah. And I implore anyone dealing with PTSD or night terrors, go see help. you can get help for it. Like, I don't have them anymore, and I had them
Yeah.
every night. And I was like you, I would stay up so late because I wouldn't want to go to bed, and I wouldn't want to go to sleep because I knew I was dealing with that every single night.
That's horrible.
Yeah, awful. I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Horrible.
Next thing. This is
Before you get into that,
oh yeah,
night terrors. I don't have them anymore, thankfully, because I think I'm like paralyzed in my sleep enough, and like dealing with demons in the corners of my room that's like God's like, you don't need this one today. But I used to have night terrors when I was a kid. I
lots of kids do, and they grow out of them.
I think I've grown out of it. Like, I don't really remember in my adult life having a night terror, because night terror is like the way my mom describes it to me, because I was a kid, right? Like, I was as young as like 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, I was young. I was a young kid. But the way my mom describes it to me is there was one day, and the story that she tells is so funny. I would love to have her submission for this. I was lying in bed with her, like I was sleeping in bed with her, because I think I was probably 3 or 4 at this time. And my feet were pinned against her back, and I was pulling her hair, screaming, like bloody murder. And my mom was like grabbing me, like trying to wake me up, like, Liv, like wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
But always had violent night terrors when he was like 2 or 3.
Yeah, but like 10 minutes, it would just go on, and I'm screaming, I'm like inconsolable. And it happened, I remember one about that one, and then I remember one more in my life when I was a kid as well, and it was about spiders. Still don't like spiders.
Oh, you poor baby.
I was literally a baby.
We're going to get on to... Oh, yeah, this is quite a cute...
Wait, what were we talking about before this ended? I was talking about night terrors.
Yeah, it was all night terrors. But then we've left that there. PTSD
cool.
and everything else. Okay, so this is like on the flip side of that. When people wake up and they have like that feeling of like, I feel so content after my dream. They might not even know what it was, but like that feeling of contentment actually has a name for it, which is called urinophrenia. Urinophrenia? Urinophrenia.
Sure. So again, say it with conviction, and people will believe it.
Uneurophrenia.
Exactly.
Just
Make them second guess their pronunciation, Robyn.
I feel content after my dream. The name for this feeling is urinophrenia.
It's actually urinophrenia.
Oh, thank you. It's actually urinophrenia.
It's actually you're an idiot. Yeah.
It's urine friend.
It's urinophrenia, like the P.
Yeah. UN.
Yeah. UN for phrenia.
Next fact. I love how that's a fact, but we're like, there's a word for it though. Who cares?
Okay, so that means that you wake up with contentment.
It's that feeling that you were content after your dream.
Okay.
You might not even remember it, but that feeling is...
What's the fact about it though? That
it has a name.
That
they actually have a name.
People have a name.
Yeah, it's
for
been
it.
coined.
Okay, cool.
Men dream more about men on average, but women dream about all sexes equally.
I would say that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Did you know once, this is a really funny story. Oh my God, this is a funny story. This is going back to your sex dreams before. This is NSFW and NSFF. So family and work colleagues. Skip a minute.
Sign off.
Don't sign off. Skip a minute.
Like this video, subscribe. Don't
like
listen.
and subscribe, but just skip. I once, when I was in high school, my last year, it's in grade 12, you would have been 17 going on 18, and I was a really, really bad kid in school, and then in my last 2 years, I was like, because you got to choose your classes, and then I was like really into what I liked, so I was into all like the history, politics, philosophy classes, like that was my cup of tea, social sciences. My first week in my philosophy class with my teacher, I had a sex dream about him.
Classic.
And I had to switch classes. I couldn't look him in the eye.
Was it that good?
No, it was just that he was short, fat, and bald. And I was like, I had a sex dream about you. And I fucking kid you not, I got to class the next day. I couldn't look him in the eye. And he had been my teacher for years.
You have such good eye contact.
Like, I have such good eye contact. But he had been my teacher for years. And I saw him and I was like, nah, I switched. So I switched out of the class the next day. I was like, nope, absolutely not. Not doing that. Couldn't do it.
Which teacher was he for?
He was philosophy.
Oh.
He was my philosophy teacher, and I switched instead to it was world, fuck, I don't know the name of the class. It was like world culture events.
Oh wow, you changed the subject entirely.
I did, yeah. So
Wow.
then the class that I was in, it was like it was basically all on current events. So you had to, like, every single day you had to read the news and talk about the news and that stuff. It was really good. I really liked the school that I was in, that they had this type of stuff that we could, like, discuss current events. But, like, from philosophy to let's talk about what's going on in the news was very different. But it was the only class left. It was only social science class left taking entries. And I could not look him in the eyes. Yeah.
What would you have done if you had sex dreams about the new teacher?
She was a South African woman, tall and lanky, with literally no body structure. And her hair went up to about here. And I fucking hated her. I literally hated her. Her and I have gotten into many screaming fights, which I was a really bad kid. I told you this.
But what if you had enemies to lovers?
No,
dream?
wouldn't have. I got into such a bad fight with her once that I went to the principal. She sent me to the principal's office. I had my desk there. I was like, sweet, send me home. Got to the principal's office, was talking to the principal, and he's like, look, Liv, I think you're hilarious, but you just can't do this in front of the class. And I was like, right, but do you agree with me that I'm right? He's like, yeah, you're right. He's like, I will go get you your test. Because I was arguing that I was still allowed to take a test despite missing it, and she wanted to flunk me. And I was like, if I got the 0, I would get it would bring my grade down quite significantly. And again, I was like a nerd towards the end of high school. So anyways, that's my funny story. Had a sex dream about my teacher, so I had to swap classes. Has that happened to you?
I love how that came off the bat of, like, men dream more about men on average, but women dream more about all sexes equally. You were like, I do, but
sometimes it's not fun.
Sometimes it's not fun.
Sometimes it's a sex dream that you regret having.
60 to 70% of people have recurring dreams. And I remembered one of mine the other night when I was at Marjorie and Lewis. I can't remember how this came up. But have you ever seen Chicken Run?
Yep.
Okay, so you remember the machine from that, like the pie machine?
Yep, great film.
Okay, so my dream was happening between the ages of 4 and 5.
Okay.
Or between 3.
Oh, really young.
Yeah, really young. This was like a recurring nightmare every night.
Oh,
so
wow.
I would, in my dream, I was like teeny, and I was in a hot dog bun, and I was like the sausage in the hot dog bun.
Okay.
And
Weird.
I'm on like a conveyor belt, like one of those machines. So I was like in that machine. It's like squirting me with like sauces and sprinkles and really weird, like so just really weird. And then I go through the whole machine and I come out the other end, and my mum is like a giant, and all my family behind her are all giants, and then my mum eats me. And that was my nightmare every night. And I would like wake up crying and like run to my dad.
Fair.
Like, my mum ate me.
Yeah, fair. Absolutely
I had that every
fair.
night for like a year or 2 years.
Fair. No. I would go to my
Also,
mom.
how funny and goofy. Like, what a goofy
It's
such
a really weird one.
little goofy
Mine
nightmare.
mine are the typical ones. Like,
Yeah.
I constantly get the dream of my teeth falling out.
That's in here is one of the most common dreams.
It is the most common dream because I've
Touch wood, I've never had a teeth falling out dream, but this
No.
is a very
But
common dream.
So they come in different forms. Like, I've had many different forms about this, but I've also had a lot of teeth issues in my life.
I
like,
want them all to be the most Canadian things ever. She has too much maple syrup and they all fall out. She's playing ice hockey and they all come out.
It's used for the story. Oh, no. Yeah, it will be used for the story. Kind of, maybe. It's... So, they're not that fucking Canadian. I'm not that Canadian. One of the ones typically that I have is that
She's at the Stampede
I'm at
Calgary.
I'm at a hockey game and someone shoots a puck into my face and all my teeth fall out. And then I go get maple syrup and it glues them back together. Are you happy?
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
No.
So wraps you in a giant maple leaf.
Yeah, they do. And then
Justin Bieber rubs your back.
And then I eat a beaver tail, and me and Justin Bieber are married, and I have a sex dream about him, okay? No, one of the ones that I have recurring is that all of my teeth are falling out, and then I kind of like catch them all in my hand, and I've got all my teeth in my hands, and so like I'm like literally holding all my teeth there, and the recurring dream that I have is that, but then it's also a little step further, is that it's always the same situation. Like the scene is always different, but the situation's always the same. that I'm getting my mom to book me like an emergency dentist appointment to get the dentist to put them back into my mouth so that they put them all back in my mouth. But the other one that I have about my teeth falling out is, oh, it's so bad. This is why I borrowed your pen. So you know the back of, this isn't the right type of pen, but you know the back of push pens? And you like click them in and click them out? So my dream is that my teeth are on that clicking mechanism. And they click, so if you like
my
push
ADHD
it,
is too bad. I could never.
if you push it, it falls out and then it goes back in. So one of my recurring dreams is my teeth falling out, but they do it in that way.
My arms feel weird.
It's really bad. I tell my team at work everything, right? So that one. But then it reminds me of this other dream that I've had that is really bad. It's not recurring though. The flight one that I have that I talked about before, that's recurring. I get that all the time. But again, I think it's because I fly all the time. But then one of the ones I had that was really weird is really weird, and I have no explanation for this, and this is why sometimes just dreams maybe. I would love that. Please explain. I have a dream that I'm eating twigs, like sticks from branches, like branch sticks, twigs.
Teeny sticks.
And then I eat them, and then I pull them out of myself.
These are awful dreams.
Like I pull them out as sticks of my throat, like I'm pulling them out of myself. And I literally kid you not, I had that dream, and then as I was driving to work the next day, I couldn't look at a tree the same way. But it's funny, but I'm not joking. Like I looked at trees and I wanted to vomit because it was just like sticks, like pulling sticks out of my mouth. It was so gross. So Robyn, tell us, have you ever had a recurring dream?
What a smooth transition from our camera dying.
Our camera died. We're technical wizards. Please bear with us for the audio people.
The real dream is us getting this right. So yeah, I have. I had a really dumb one growing up. At the time, it was terrifying. So between the ages of, cheers. Between the ages of 3 to 5, I'd say. It was like at least over a year, if not 2 years. I had a recurring dream every night where if you've seen Chicken Run, there's a machine in that where pies are made out of the chickens. And in my dream, every night I would be really tiny and I would be in a hot dog bun. So I was the hot dog. And I would go through and sauces would be on me, sprinkles would be put on me. It was really stupid. And then I would come out the end and my mum would be a giant. All my family was behind her and she would pick me up and eat me. So every night I would wake up crying and run to my dad because I didn't want my mum to name me because I was like, he ate me again.
Fair enough. Like I'd be mad at my mum too.
Every night for years.
Logically, but
yeah. So it was a terrifying dream every night for years, even though my mum was like the best.
I haven't done anything to you.
Yeah,
Why do
she
you
did
hate
nothing
me?
to me. The next fun fact that I don't really know how they check this, which is a big question here, but I find it fascinating. Every one of your dreams you've seen in real life, and you don't invent them. So you've seen them like on TV or at the train station, in passing, at work, there's someone you know.
Yeah,
Fascinating fact. No idea how
they get that stat.
How they get that. I will touch quickly onto the DMT thing, just because it goes back into what we were talking about earlier with the alpha brainwaves and delta and theta brainwaves. So DMT, which is dimethyltryptamine, which is what is within ayahuasca. It's a substance you can actually just take on its own now. But researchers had found that the states induced by DMT are very similar to the brainwaves when people are dreaming. So who have these breakthrough experiences, they're having a decrease in alpha brainwaves and an increase in delta and theta brainwaves at the same time. But we're going to touch on that more thoroughly on an episode entirely about DMT and other drugs, I guess. Study. 2,000 participants. Most common nightmare. Falling, followed by being chased. Then came death, feeling lost, feeling trapped, being attacked, missing an important event, waking up late, someone dying, getting injured, teeth falling out, and natural disasters.
Hello.
Hello.
Thanks.
Good. How are you?
Good.
Todd has entered the room.
Todd has entered the room.
Just been over at uni.
Nice.
To become Dr. Todd.
Dr. Todd. Dr. Skateboarding Todd.
Not yet.
Oh, we'll be talking about skateboarding dreams soon as well.
Oh, will we be?
Yeah, we will. We're talking about dreams today.
Dreams.
Yes. So go over there and think about what you've dreamed. So we're actually about to get on to the next bit, which is actually the most fascinating part, I think, of the entire time for this.
You came at a good time.
Which is lucid dreaming. So we're getting on to 55% of people at one point in their lives will have a lucid dream, and 20% have them often. I am one of that 20%. Are you one of the 20% of dream often? Do you lucid dream often? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
I had one last night.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Last night was beautiful. It was a great dream.
Yeah,
Last
there we
night.
go.
I'm gonna straight to the.
Did you already reference lucid dreaming?
No, they're just getting onto lucid. We've talked about it a little bit, but no, we're about to get into it.
Because you might need to give a definition of what that is. Because I've mentioned it before, and people are like, "What's that?"
True, I never think about that. Yeah, I guess
so,
we lucid dream a lot. So lucid dream.
Oh, I'll do it because I do this 4 nights a week minimum. It's my state of being. What my definition for it is when your body is physically asleep, but your mind is awake. And so you're creating scenes and scenarios in your head while being asleep, but it's very vivid and real because your brain activity is still on. Is that accurate?
I'd say a lucid dream is when you're within a dream and you suddenly become aware that you are dreaming, and then you are able to control some of the things in yourself within that dream. For me, it's like I don't have any control of the scene, but I have control over me within that scene.
That's my experience as well. It's I don't have control of I can't be like some people like reference being able to fly and go do this and go do that.
I can't fly in one of mine, but I can't change the place I'm in. And I still have boundaries. It's almost like a video game for me. It's like I can move myself within that boundary, but I know if I fly over a particular area, I'm going down and waking up.
Yeah.
I had these weird ones where I could fly, but I couldn't get more than this high off the ground.
Yeah.
It was real weird.
I have one where this is a recurring dream. This is a recurring lucid dream, and that's where I go. And I know it's a lucid dream because I'll be in my mum's house. It's so realistic, and I'm just in the dining room, and then I'm like, how did I get here? Where am I? I'm a bit confused. And then I look out my mum's front window out of her living room, and her old MG is there that she hasn't had for 15 years. And I go, and then I run up to my bedroom, which is a loft conversion, and then I jump out because I know I can fly. But then the village that I'm from, is surrounded, not in real life, it's suddenly surrounded by trees Twilight style.
Yeah.
But I can't go further. It's like a barrier, when you're in a video game and it rebounds you back in. So then I have to fly over the village again. But if I fly over my nan's garden, which is it has no longer got this train anymore. That's been gone for 10 years. But if I fly over that, then I go down. So I always try and avoid it, and then I get carried away, and then I fly over, and then I go and then I wake up, and I'm like, fuck! I must remember not to fly over my nan's garden.
Let's pause for a second. But that's the worst thing about a lucid dream is because if you get a good lucid dream, and you're in it, and then you accidentally wake yourself up, or you wake up, you're like, fuck, I want to go back to it. I need to go back to that reality.
And
you can't replicate it.
Well, I've had one where I have, and I think I've told you about this dream. I had this one lucid dream that I have, and I've now had write-ins, and I've done the research today on how to enter a lucid dream, but I don't know how to enter a specific one. But I'm going to see whether or not I'm going to try it tonight to get into this one dream that I had, because it was the most again, how James Cameron talked about creating Terminator through his dream. I would love to create a film based on this dream.
I can give you a little bit of a hint and a little bit of a cheat code. What I do to enter.
Let's see whether or not it's the same as these.
Yeah,
ones.
to enter a good lucid dream, I'll say it.
Yeah, say it. Yeah, I'll let you know.
So what I do if I want to do something specific in a lucid dream, because again, I can do that. The way that I lucid dream, and it's not voluntary, because I don't want to be in this state ever, but it happens to me a lot. It's when I'm physically still for 10 minutes. So my body is asleep, but my brain's awake, and then I can do whatever I want. Not necessarily, but to a degree. But if I think about something while I'm lying still, then I will enter into that dream.
Well, this is falling on very close to what this study was done. So
hold on, real quick. Is this how to enter lucid dreams?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the first time I ever heard of it, I met this guy, and he told me that lucid dreaming was one of his hobbies, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I know people who tell me they can do it and they can enter it on their own. I've never chosen to enter a lucid dream. They just happen. For a period of time, they were really, really frequent. And now they're kind of infrequent, but when they happen, like, they're great. Like, I've never had, like, a bad lucid dream. They've always just been, like, sick. I've been so happy. One of them you would like. I was an alien on a spaceship, and I was
with
like,
a skateboard.
Yeah, with a skateboard. So did you ever watch? I don't know if anyone's ever seen this show, Lloyd the Alien. I think it was called.
Yeah.
Do you remember Lloyd the Alien?
We were actually. It's funny. We were looking at this cartoon like yesterday at work.
That's so funny. I was him. So I was on a spaceship. I had a flying skateboard, and I was just flying through all of like the corridors, and it was all like down and through different loops. Like, it was just the most amazing fun ever. I'm never been able to enter that one again, but that was such a fun dream.
Yeah, fair.
Like, that's where I was like, I could so see myself skateboarding if I had a hoverboard and I was an alien. But
Skateboarding dreams are the best. That's the last dream I had was about skateboarding.
But yours probably falls more onto what we were talking about at the beginning, which you missed, which was
Yeah.
things you do frequently ending up in your dream, which is called the Tetris effect.
These days I'm not really skateboarding frequently, but too busy.
You're
But,
just having dreams of pouring
about
kava.
it.
Oh, then maybe yours is wish fulfillment, like
Yes.
Freud
Yeah,
said, which is
that's-
another thing we talked about at the beginning.
But the lucid dreaming thing, I saw a reference one time. There was like some sort of Christian, I don't know, talking down about things that they thought were evil, and they referenced lucid dreaming as being something evil. You have to do more research into
That's
that.
something
I
No,
had
so
idea.
this
We
is
talked
what
about demons.
this
stuff
is what I
earlier
talked
as well.
about. We talked about earlier. Is I think like so we were talking about sleep paralysis,
Yeah.
and I think lucid dreaming and sleep paralysis go hand in hand. Personally, that's my experience because it's not something. So I get this like 5 nights of the week. Like, I don't sleep well because I'm always in the state of like I know that I'm asleep, but I'm not asleep. I'm not awake. Like, I need to wake myself up. So I don't like that. So I can completely understand the logic of it's evil because a lot of things happen in a sleep paralysis state that you'd rather avoid, like demons, and you feel physical weights on your chest, and it's again.
Even though they're like lucid dreaming, and like I'm surprised that someone would say lucid dreaming is evil. Like, I can understand with sleep paralysis that be something, because we referenced this earlier. Like, they had other names back in the day, like especially when it came to like sex dreams that were like sleep paralysis related. They had like the succubus, which was like an evil demon woman coming to sleep with men while they slept, and an incubus, which was a man coming to impregnate sleeping women. And these were like demons. They were known as like old hag and things like this coming to get you in your sleep. But a lucid dream, like, I don't know.
Yeah, but
I feel like there's nothing evil
No.
about my
Maybe it was
little
doing
alien
it-
skateboarding dream.
Yeah, maybe it was
No.
the act of doing it intentionally to like congregate with.
I guess because it could be seen as
Spirits,
magic.
yeah.
It could be
Yeah.
seen
It
as
could be
trying
seen.
to be godlike, which I guess is also
But
like
as well
another
as
thing.
there's this theory, and a lot of people I've seen.
If you think lucid
it's-
dreaming is evil, write in.
It's actually really it's funny. It's funny to me, but it could be real. I don't know. I don't want to trump anything that like people love. But there's this idea that you can physically shift the what's it called? What are we in? Dimension?
The realm.
Realm? They call it like we'll go to a different dimension. It's like there's another word for it though.
A few people have written about this actually.
Yeah, so it's like they think that they can jump dimensions and like go be in Harry Potter and Hogwarts and whatnot and do this and do that. So a lot of things like that, which I just think, because again, this is my day-to-day experience, that what they're referring to is lucid dreaming, where you can control the narrative.
But
That's
what
what
if
I
they're
think.
all the same thing? It's when I think about, like, I don't know if you've ever read His Dark Materials. It's like one of my favorite book series ever. But that talks about multiple worlds, and one of those worlds.
Multiverse.
Multiverse.
That's the one.
But one of the worlds within this, again, this multiverse, is the land of the dead, and then the whole story is around religious, like, control, and basically they created this whole world where you believed that, everything we're taught about religion, basically, but you go to the land of the dead only to find out that you can travel between universes, and the land of the dead is just a place where they've been put, and then you can release people back into the universe and everything else.
I love
Great
that.
series. It is incredibly good.
Yeah, I would like to read that.
You
That
should.
sounds- that sounds
3 of my favorite books. There's a TV series on Neon as well. It's incredible.
So I just had a thought in an interesting way. Just being alive and awake and conscious is almost like a lucid dream.
Well, yeah, there's that
I was like,
incredible...
but we're in this dimension, right?
Except we have to
I'm
work
trying to
and
remember
pay
the-
taxes.
Well, I'm trying to remember the quote. What is it? I can't remember which philosopher or who it was that tried
Freud.
to... No, it wasn't Freud. I'll figure out who it is afterwards. We'll put the quote at the end. But it was a great thinker anyway, had a dream about being a butterfly. And when he woke up, he said, am I a man dreaming about being a butterfly, or am I a butterfly dreaming about being a man?
You told me this the other day.
That sounds about right. But yeah,
You told me this the other day.
Yeah, it's an incredible thought. Like, that's what people are talking about when they talk about like multiple worlds within our dreams. Like, we have no real idea. Like, this is just, everything is created within our heads and our minds anyway. Well, I'll tell you I'll tell you about what's called the WBTB technique. Wake yourself up about 2 hours before you intend to get up fully. And that's the wake up, back to bed method. So, funnily enough, we've had people write in today about if they lucid dream, and if so, like, do they have any ways that they do it? Funnily enough, Alice actually wrote in that she finds that if she goes back to sleep for another hour before getting up, that it works, and that's actually the method. And if you combine that with another method, which is called the mnemonic induction of lucid dreams, which is called the mile technique.
Again, Robyn, say it with conviction.
Mnemonic. It's because I misspelt it so that I would say it correctly, because it's actually got a silent M at the beginning. The latter means that saying something over and over in your head about 5 minutes before you go to sleep, it can induce that lucid dream again. So which is kind of what you were saying earlier about how you have that, like, you set the intention for it and that helps you go into it. So apparently the combination of those two actually does work. And there was a study in 2020 where 18% of people had a lucid dream on the night that they had used the techniques together, and 5 out of 10 of those had never had a lucid dream before.
Okay.
So that's pretty good stats.
Is that why you're going to try it?
Yeah, but you have to get up 2 hours before you intend to get up to then make that repetitive thought. But it could be like,
I can give you a trick to do that. If you want to wake up 2 hours before you're meant to get up, I do that religiously. It's called nicotine addiction. So you wake up for a vape.
Great. Okay, I'll
Maybe
start.
you wake up and have a nang, and then.
How long will it take me to?
Todd, I'm not a drug addict. Okay, it's just
she's a drug user.
Yeah, it's different.
Sorry, kava's not drug like that.
No, kava's not a drug.
Okay.
Nangs are also not technically a drug, but
Are they addictive at all? No.
nah, I don't think so.
No,
I'm
I
not
don't
walking
think
around
so.
craving being brain dead for 10 seconds. Like,
Yeah, no, I don't think they're addictive.
that's what it does. You die in the brain.
It's nitrous
I
oxide,
don't
though,
think-
right? It's the same as it's
why I
nitrous oxide is the same as with gas and air, which you
Yeah.
take during labor.
But you're also an academic, right?
A little bit.
Yeah. So I don't think that would be your forte. Like, let's kill my brain and starve it of oxygen for 10 seconds.
Unless I was going to write a paper about it afterwards.
Yeah, I was gonna say that also there's a level of nerd where you actually wrap back around
Yeah.
into doing shit so that you can learn, which I feel like is me and my expansive knowledge.
I've never been big on experimenting with stuff like that. Even the first time I had kava, it was like 20 some years ago, I was like, ooh, do I want to do this?
I'm a big researcher before going into anything, and also knowing all the risks of everything. Nangs is a scary one. Actually.
Nangs is
Like,
actually
that's just a
terrifying.
scary one.
Like, Nangs is something that I always do. I've done it like 3 times in my life, and I'm 27 years old. Right? It's not that deep, but Nangs is always something that I feel really bad about doing the next day because I'm like, I don't.
You're like, my poor brain didn't deserve
literally,
this.
You literally.
No, some people really. I mean, just yeah. Anyway,
Some people really abuse it.
Well, not to cut you off on this
No,
one,
you're
but
good.
I see nangs as, because you see them all over the ground, and they sell
way,
them in shops, and they're like,
crazy places you see them where I'm like, why would
Yeah.
you be doing this?
Outside
Here.
yeah, on K Road.
I
Like,
see that on the same level as like huffing paint or glue. It's
It
like
is.
people
It's
are
in that
using
realm.
it to escape like some kind of horrible reality. That's the way
Yeah.
I see it. And not that you're using it for that, but there are people who like live on the streets who have nothing.
Yeah, so
And-
100% that's
yeah.
why they're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
it. Yeah, when I see them out in those locations, it's like there can't be any other reason why you would do this here. Surely you want to be comfortable, cozy, and with like nice lighting and music.
yeah, I do it after a night out, and someone hands me a balloon, and I'm like,
In a comfortable, cozy place.
I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm like, balloon? Okay. Because you can't, I'm very agreeable.
She turns into
Very-
I'm very
Mickey
agreeable.
Mouse.
I do. I love helium balloons. It's my favorite thing.
Somebody,
you and the helium balloons
somebody,
were
like, I
hilarious
think,
on holiday.
died from inhaling a helium balloon really recently. I saw the headline somewhere.
I believe that. I did helium. I saw a balloon.
She wanted to send me videos of her doing a funny voice while she was in LA. This was during the LA fires while she couldn't leave her hotel.
We couldn't leave the hotel. We couldn't leave. I couldn't leave my friend's house, because like the ash was raining from the city and whatever. But she had a birthday party, so she had a bunch of helium balloons, and she needed to get rid of them. So I popped one, and then I like inhaled it, and I sent Robyn a funny voice note going like, "Hello, it's
And then I sent her song requests.
She sent me song requests,
I was like,
which I
"Please
fulfilled.
sing."
Doing Redbone like on helium, I tortured the song, but
You did, but first I was afraid, I was petrified. It was really good.
that was good.
All right, back to lucid dreaming.
But just on that note of dying on helium, my lungs felt. I'm a vapor. Like I vape, and I'm not proud about it, but I do. My lungs felt so bad after the helium, like to the point that I was like, I don't think I could do this anymore. This is horrible. That was the probably sickest I've felt.
Oh God, that's awful.
It was really bad. Yeah.
Oh, good thing to note for kids' birthday parties. Don't be
Don't
doing
inhale.
that.
No, don't let them inhale. Anyways, back to the dream.
Back to the lucid dreaming. Todd, have you ever lucid dreamt?
Not intentionally. I've had dreams, where I felt like I was in control doing stuff. And then you wake up and you're like... But the one thing, you guys may have talked about this earlier, was like the... people eat different cheeses and it makes them dream.
No, we haven't gotten to it yet, but that actually didn't come up in any of my like fact research. But when I eat cheeses, I have different dreams, and it can induce, especially like for me, it's Parmesan and blue cheese. So the stronger cheeses, I find that I will have more vivid, often into nightmarish dreams. I'm gonna sneeze.
Cut that out. Cut this out. But I find with sweets, if I eat a sweet, I don't really like. I'm not a snacker. I don't really snack on things. But if I eat sweets before bed, I will have nightmares, like undoubtedly.
Oh, interesting. I don't eat any sweets before bed, or like.
Well, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like, I'm an adult. There's no one stopping me from eating this at night. So I just push the
demons.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll just do this.
They're like, don't do that again.
So tying this back into kava a little bit, you may have also talked about this as well. At what point in like the sleep cycle do you have a dream? Is it do people dream when you're in that REM zone, or is like
yes,
and
it's in REM. So it's during
did you know
rapid
what
eye
REM
movement.
stood for?
Rapid eye movement.
Yes.
It's just you.
So kava, they've done studies now, because you guys probably notice as well. After kava, you sleep really deep,
Great, amazing.
and you get in the zone really fast. I tell people that. For me, anyway, sometimes, actually not sometimes, most of the time, like 5 or 6 hours of sleep after kava is just as good as like 8 hours of sleep without kava, because we'll lay there and it's like you're procrastinating and thoughts come into your head. But kava, bam, straight in, but it makes your brain go into that REM sleep zone faster.
Okay. I'd love to do some research into that afterwards.
Now, I was just wondering, maybe kava's not a good thing for this lucid dreaming thing, if that... But yeah, if
lucid dreaming would be happening again through the REM cycle again, because it's still a dream, so you are still having that during that time. I wonder whether or not it's just the entry point of your dream. Is it, by the sounds of it, it sounds like that is actually what, I guess, kicks off a lucid dream more so than any other indications. No one else has written in about taking anything in that, like beginning it. What I didn't cover on my research today was actually like marijuana and dreams. Because actually people who smoke weed actually have less dreams, so like they report remembering their dreams less.
Yes.
And I didn't look into research on that actually for today.
I've done some first-hand research, not personally, but my ex-boyfriend, he was a massive stoner, in a functional way, but I made him quit a couple times because I don't like it.
He'd start dreaming again.
And he'd start dreaming again, and the dreams that he would have were like wild and vivid and crazy, like the word, like just very odd. And I think it's like your brain
It's catching up again.
It's catching up. It's like all the dreams at once.
It's like, let's have some fun now.
Yeah, let's dream. What's it? The visual cortex.
Do you find that the visual cortex.
I got it
Do you
right.
find that you still dream? Do you dream vividly? Are you a big dreamer? Do you find that on days you
Do
have
you remember your
clouds?
dreams?
Yeah, that's one of the things. I'll wake up and remember it in the morning, and then like by the
Forget it
end of
as
the day, I'm like, oh, what happened in that? And that's such a weird thing.
Oh, I have a whole heap of them in my phone. I have notes because I write them as soon as I wake
A
up.
lot of people do that. Yeah.
And
I
then
think it's important, dream
It is,
journaling,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's interesting, and also a fun fact that we talked about earlier: men are less likely to remember their dreams on a daily basis than women are.
Also,
You grew up
just
like-
a fun fact as well. Are you colorblind?
No.
Okay, so far your theory's out.
Yeah, my theory's
She
out.
was like, maybe it's because men are more likely to be colorblind. And I was like, that's so random as a theory.
Well, it was
know.
a leap.
But we can look into it.
But
I
it's
find my notes app off.
there are dreams I've had, like especially when I was a kid. I remember them really vividly. It's weird, like to the point where it's like, man, it almost seems real, or like, yeah. Actually, there are a couple that were pretty unremarkable, but I don't know if they were dreams or something that actually happened. But then others were pretty outlandish, and like I dreamed I was a detective and I was looking for someone in a castle, and I was going up like the steps, and I opened a door and someone stabbed me in the chest and I died.
Aww.
But I remember that.
But that would be a great dream up until that point.
Yeah, it was
Like, cool to be a
crazy.
detective.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I was probably younger than 10 years old when I had that dream. I
Yeah.
still remember.
I'd still remember it.
Yeah, so we talked about a couple of childhood
Yeah.
ones earlier, because we have some recurring childhood ones that are like wild.
Have you ever had the teeth falling out?
So I haven't had
Oh,
that ever. I've never had a teeth falling out
Where
dream.
you bite into something that's like normally soft, and you're instead of whatever.
Hers are weirder.
Mine are weirder.
Like
Hers are
I've had
weirder.
one where you like I don't know bite a cracker or something where you expect the cracker to crumble, but the cracker stays hard and your teeth crumble. That's pretty.
No,
that's
that's pretty bad.
I'm
terrible.
like hating this.
I've-
She has
yeah.
so many of them.
Mine are bad. I have it all the time.
Yeah, she
It's all my teeth fall out and I'm holding them in my hands. And then my mom, it's always every situation is different. Like I'm always in a different context, but same premise. My teeth fall out, I'm holding them in my hand. My mom calls me a dentist appointment, like an emergency dentist appointment, to get them to put my teeth back in my mouth. And then the second recurring one that I have, you know push pens? Like the
Yeah.
So my teeth are on that mechanism that's like click in, click out. And so I'm clicking my teeth
Oh.
in, and
Isn't
then
that
they're falling
awful?
out of my mouth.
That's
like, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think hers are worse than biting into a cracker. And
one I
Actually,
used
they're all
to.
bad.
I used to have, and I haven't had in a long time, and it's really common, is being naked in like public.
Yeah, we just
places.
talked about
Talking
that.
about
I've had
that.
that one. I
I
had that
haven't.
one, but she's never had it.
Yeah, I haven't had it in years, but I used to have it where you dream, and they were usually pretty vivid. Like you're at school and I was like
Yeah.
hiding under
Oh,
the
no.
staircase.
So
and,
mine
like,
was I was in a school, but it wasn't even my school. It was a local school that I hadn't visited yet. And I did weeks later and looked the same. That was really creepy. But in my dream, I was naked, but I was invisible. But I didn't know at what point would I just become not invisible anymore. So I was really freaked out because I didn't know my way around. So I was like hiding, but also I was like, but they can't see me. So I was like, not really sure how to deal with it. I was like, I have a superpower, but it's frustrating me. So basically, I was like Jessica Alba in like Fantastic Four.
Nah, I think if I, like, say tonight, for example, I had a dream that I was naked in public, I would probably call in sick to work tomorrow. I just couldn't do it. I'd just be so embarrassed. And, like, that's just the way that my brain works, is...
That's just the way the teeth crumble.
The teeth crumble in that way. That's the way the teeth fall out. It's, I don't know, I get, like, secondhand embarrassment from movies, and having that experience in a dream, I would just die. But that's like my biggest fear, is like being naked in public. Like,
Okay, no, my teeth falling out is way worse than that. Like I would.
well, actually, my biggest fear is going to prison. But
What's your biggest fear?
There's many. There's another one I just thought of years ago. A friend of mine back in the States, he was going. Oh, he had this big argument with his girlfriend. She had a dream that he cheated on her, and she was angry at him.
for cheating on him in the dream, yeah.
Yeah, or like, you must be because I wouldn't have dreamed about it. Like,
You don't.
That's actually so
We've all
common.
been there.
There's been so many people, however, really common with that actually.
My ex used to wake up and he'd be like, "Why are you in a bad mood?" I'm like, "You fucking cheated on me."
In my
Like,
dream.
He knew, like, you cheated on me. But they're vivid. It's like you pull up their phone and they're texting a bunch of people and like and then you wake up and they're like, oh, good morning. You're like, fuck you. Like,
Oh.
get on my face.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
What you got next?
Next ones. Oh yeah, so my next. I was actually going to describe my lucid dream that I had.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, because I have. I get them quite a bit, but I had one, which is the one that I want to go back to the most.
A recent one or what?
It was like a year or so ago now. Maybe 2 years ago now. But it was like Inception type because it was a dream within a dream within a dream.
Oh,
So within the first dream,
I'm intrigued.
it was great. I'm trying to remember the first one I was actually now because it was like it went from one to the next one and it got deeper and deeper. So I think it was arriving at a concert and it was like an old opera hall style, so the little red fold-out chairs. But as I realized that I was in a dream, my friend Eleanor was there and she was walking through and it all grew and was getting taller and taller until we were like going through all these narrow tunnels until eventually I landed within a train station. That was like the next dream. And then it just got so real. And that was like, someone was coming in through the front of this like glass front of this massive train station. And I could feel the heat from the sun on my skin. I could see all the particles, when you're in like that kind of sunlight. Yeah. And people were coming past me and everyone was so real. I could feel the warmth from them as they went past me, hustle and bustle it. And then I look outside and it's like an old, I guess what you call like an old American town sort of looking place, but it's like used to be an industrial sort of place. It's all kind of run down, but it just had like the new train station and like a couple places. Big factory with like long turrets coming out of it. All of a sudden, huge siren sound goes off and these green lights are going down into the turrets and everyone in the town, almost everyone, is like in a trance looking up at this light and they all start moving slowly towards it. But me and like maybe like 10 other people are like not in that trance. And there's like an old jazz bar and this guy like opens this door and he's like, get in here. And like we all run over, get inside, look outside, and everyone's moving closer and closer and closer again as we're like being pushed down to a basement. And then like the door closes to the basement and the light goes on and we're all just there together. And then I wake up and I was like, this is the start of a great dream.
Yeah.
I was
like,
so
what
mad.
Now?
I like drew it out and I was like, I want to go back there and finish this dream.
Yeah,
I think it's
fair.
such a good one. I was like, I didn't know where it was going. I had no idea it was going that way. It went from like, I'm at a concert to then into another dream within a dream and then sci-fi, which are my favorite dreams.
Yeah, that would
clearly.
And did you woke up and wrote it down?
Yeah, I drew it, yeah. I drew it out. But I try and write them down when they're like really weird ones. One of them I can only remember very tiny parts of this, and that's only after finding this note like 6 months later. And it says, diving dream to cave, keeping phone dry, which I mean, it must mean me doing this. And then creatures in the water, climbing back out, holding dog. Jamie there, who's one of my friends, who's my hairdresser. And then it says lesbian hotel. And I have no idea what that means.
Sounds like a proper dream for you, though.
Yeah, I mean, what a journey. I have no idea how I got to the lesbian hotel or what that means. That last bit threw me. And I also don't remember Jamie within the cave, so it must have been like another section, like after all of this. But yeah, I do that as much as I can.
I like, and then maybe that's something that like Alice had said and written in on. Because a lot of the time, sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and I'll be having a really, really good dream. And then I'll be like, fuck, I want to continue the dream. And I'll go back to bed and I'll like pick up where I left off.
I can do that sometimes.
But I think that's lucid dreaming as well because you're like consciously putting yourself back into that scenario.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. They are like lucid dreams. They're not as vivid though, I find.
No,
when you
they're
go back in, I find they're like a little bit, they've lost their saturation a little bit, if that makes sense.
It's lost the dream and now it's like forced. If that makes sense. Like, I'm forcing myself. I had a dream once that it was so good.
It wasn't organic.
Such a good dream. I had a dream that I was not a rock star, but I could play the guitar. If you'll know me, like, all I want in my life is to be talented at something.
You also don't even like people that can play instruments.
I hate people who can play the guitar.
Yeah, this is so funny to me. Like, people,
No,
yeah,
I don't
isn't
hate
that
them.
funny though? Like,
Look,
people are like...
so for example, I don't hate anybody.
Yeah.
But if I see someone on Hinge, for example, like a dating app, and they have a guitar, they say like I could play the guitar. I'm like, no.
She's like,
absolutely not.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
No, it's just because like I don't want you to sing to me. Like I don't want.
Yeah, she's actually
personally.
like that. She's like worst nightmare is someone serenading her, and I was
It
like,
is.
That's so funny.
Because I wouldn't know. Like, have you met me? Like someone would sing to me, and I'd be like, like
This
sing
is a
to you on
North
your
American
birthday
thing.
one day.
I don't like it. I absolutely don't like it.
All right, I'm pulling out some of the.
But a lot of people love it. They love musicians. They love singers. It's just not my thing.
Like being around Pacific Islanders a lot.
Music's a big part,
Music
yeah.
is just normal.
Also singing, though. They're all singers,
And they're all good.
They are.
I was just thinking about like dogs when they dream. They're like, it's always like they're chasing a rabbit or something.
I was
It's
going to
like-
touch on like animals at some point, but they did like a cat study where they like, I don't know how they removed it, which is why, because I was like, oh, I don't want to go into that sort of thing. It was like, how they did this? But they managed to like remove the part of their brain where it restricts your movement while you're sleeping. I don't know how they did it. Probably
I don't
just with
like
like
it.
probably just like with electrodes. Probably not like actual surgery. But they were like moving, like they were like fighting things and chasing things because they were fully dreaming. They were trying to investigate how they dream. But you know, lots of mammals dream.
I just remember our dogs when I was growing up. They'd be like barking and like their legs would be going, and I'm like, they seem to always have good dreams.
Yeah.
Like,
Or they're running from something.
Do dogs dream that like their whole family died and shit like that? like humans. That's another common one. Like,
Oh yeah, there was a lot of
You're a
that, and we
kid,
had like
like-
a full like
you
list
wake
of
up
like,
and you're like, oh, everybody's still alive. Oh my god.
like, thank goodness,
Yes.
everything's okay.
I'm not home alone.
All right, I'm going to read out some of the listener write-ins. So, do dreams mean anything? Are they random or do they serve a purpose? So, somebody wrote, I think for some people, they are trying to help you reflect on things or to remind you of your goals, which is one thing we did touch on at the beginning. For others, it's to process trauma or to remind them of their goals. I guess same thing. For others, if you put the effort in, I think it's a place that you can really shape your own reality. They help us process our experiences without the boundaries of reality. It's your life in another dimension, which is kind of what we were talking about with the simulation thing. I believe dreams do mean something. I dream some things and people into existence. It does. Sometimes it's a premonition for me, not straight to the point though.
Talked about that.
Yeah, I talked about a premonition dream that I'd had. For sure, at least for me, I'm still processing a lot of my feelings in my dreams. It depends. It could be your desires or warning signs of your life to be rejected, which is what Carl Jung actually said. He believes those are the true reasons behind dreams. And then my next question for everyone was, do you have a lucid dream or have you? If so, tell me more. Yes, I have nightmares about zombies. I remember I'm asleep and choose to fly away.
Sorry, on that note, I have that as a recurring dream.
Zombies.
Often. Not zombies, apocalypse. End of the world. Like, world's ending. What do I do? And it's
I
always...
feel like those are my
it's
dreams.
not always.
They're
It's
my
like-
favorites.
sometimes it's like a nuclear bomb. Sometimes it's like zombies. Sometimes it's just different things. But the world, I know for a fact, I have the feeling that the world is ending, and I've got to like try and survive. Do I like those dreams? I don't hate them.
Yeah. I was going to say, they can be
They're
really
interesting.
fun. They're a dream. And if you're lucid dreaming it, you know it's a dream, so you can
Yeah.
have fun with it. All right, we're going to finish off with some of the write-ins about lucid dreams and how people enter their lucid dreams. And then one really funny story that I found and I thought was just amazing. So some people said that they actually get lucid dreams and they eat a lot of cheese. Like a couple of people actually said that. I've never found a connection between lucid dreaming and cheese, just with really vivid dreaming.
If you could crack the like kind of cheese, maybe like a combo of cheese, you could start a company selling dream cheese.
Business idea. We're cutting this out.
Cutting this out.
Yeah, don't put that in there. Dream cheese.
Sign that off, dream cheese. It's always when something distressing is happening in a dream, like a switch will flick.
Yeah.
That's actually quite common as well.
So say that again. When something stressful is happening.
Distressing in the dream. It's
Oh,
like they
okay.
suddenly realize that it's a dream. I think they go lucid,
Yeah.
which is interesting. Someone were in like quite a bit actually. Before falling asleep, meditation, being centered, no screens before bed is the base. Then focus on your situation you wish to embark on. Go over and over in your head. Most of the time it will happen, even if it's a few nights later. What you focus on, you can create and maintain the lucid dream. Don't go near water. Interesting. Or avoid near-death places like falling or wherever else because you'll wake up instantly, which is my experience. Next, what else did someone say? Oh, actually someone's got an app. A lucid dreaming app called Lucidity Level. We will check that out 100%. Ginger and honey tea helps you dream clearly. When I drink sometimes, I brew ginger. Usually going back to sleep. Oh yeah, this is what Alice had said. Going back to sleep for an extra hour in the morning is the sweet spot, which is exactly what the research had said actually. And then I asked people for their like weird dreams because I just was interested. Someone said I put my hands into big tins of paint and then I can jump for miles with a single leap like the Hulk.
I love that.
I love that too. This is muddy. Once I dreamed that I had helicopter blades on my head and I could fly. Someone said I dreamt that my brother was in trouble, woke up and went and found him. He was indeed in trouble. It was a premonition dream. Travel from Earth to another planet, met another life, tried to ask them questions, and they told me to look within and sent me back to Earth. Oh, nice.
That's good.
That's quite a sweet one.
Yeah.
And I will be reading you an amazing story that I had found today about a guy who I believe it was 2020, who was put into an induced coma, I believe through complications from having COVID. I think he also had cancer. Let me find it. Here we are. The title reads, Man wakes from coma to reveal bad dream where he was forced to be a Tesco delivery driver with a really crap van. The dream also featured a dwarf. A cancer sufferer woke from an 11-day induced coma to reveal he had one long bad dream where he was forced to be a Tesco delivery driver with a really crap van. Paul Luttrell was put onto a ventilator after contracting COVID and was not expected to survive. But after defying the odds to recover, the former builder was given a unique insight into the continuous delirium that came with being comatose. The 52-year-old said in his dream state he was kidnapped by a gang led by a dwarf and feared for his life at every moment. Part of his torture was that he was made to work as a slave delivering food for Tesco to earn his captor's money, making deliveries in a clapped-out old banger of a van. The father of 5 was diagnosed with melanoma, a cancer of the blood and bone marrow, 3 years ago that destroyed his kidneys. He was taken ill from COVID during a regular dialysis session. Luttrell said he doesn't remember anything else until coming around 3 weeks later. It was pretty hellish. I did not get to see my family or say goodbye and was put into a induced coma for 11 days, he said, adding, I remember the dreams so clearly, like crystal. Luttrell says in his dream he was kidnapped by a gang in London who put a hood over his head and then took him into a garage where a defibrillator was used to torture me. They made me get a job as a Tesco delivery driver, but I had to give all my money and wages to them. I only had this crappy van, doors hanging off the back of it, but I had to get on with it and earn more money to go straight to them. The leader kept demanding I want more money and then started making me sell acid tabs. It was all so bizarre, I don't know where it all came from, but I was hallucinating and could not escape. They wanted me to look after a prostitute. I remember what she looks like and everything. My job was to protect her from the guys getting too frisky with her.
Still while driving his Tesco van.
Yeah, this is part of his job and selling acid tabs. Luttrell said the dream went on continuously and only proceeded to get weirder, included a sign saying, you are dead. The father of 5 said the family thought that they would have to bury him after he was put straight into isolation during the dialysis session July 26, 2020. His oxygen levels had dropped just to 60, and the last thing he remembers is paramedics turning up in hazmat suits. That was so scary. That's in real life. Luttrell has needed help with physio and psychologist since he came out and has had to teach himself to eat and walk again. But he was discharged in August 26 and is still recovering at home. But that was a few years ago. So hopefully he is very well now. But what a bizarre dream to have continuously for 11 days.
It reminds me of, have you ever seen The Sopranos?
I haven't, but I've heard good things.
No. There's an episode where Tony, I don't know, he's in a coma, Tony's main character. And he basically, the whole time he's in a coma, he has this dream that he's someone else. And it goes on for like 3 days. But that's what that reminds me of. Is like, imagine having a non-stop dream that you're doing. Like, it would just be so hard to wake up from. And you wake up and you're like, oh my God, that was all a dream.
Also, you wake up from something like that, and at the time that would be so scary. Then you wake up and you go, what the hell, brain?
Yeah.
You know, why was I forced to be a Tesco's delivery driver of all things? Like, can you imagine?
And that's like another traumatic situation that you're like.
And you wake up and you're like, oh my God, I'm not being forced to sell Tesco's delivery. I was in a coma.
Recovering from COVID.
Yeah, God. Yeah.
Wow. Those premonition dreams are an interesting one. Like, if you were heading off tomorrow on a big round the world trip and you had a dream tonight about a plane crash,
we talked about this at the beginning. There's actually a study on it where the study found that if people had a dream about a plane crash the day before an important flight, they were more likely to cancel the flight then than if they were given a government-issued warning that there was a threat, which is, I mean, for a lot of people, I can understand why it's something like coming from above. I mean, I discussed earlier that I've had a premonition dream. I had dreams every single night for the 3 weeks before I found out my father had passed, that he had passed. And he had already passed in that time, but I didn't know yet. But I had the same dream, and his best friend a year later told me he'd actually had the same dream for the 3 weeks before. And he found out he told my mum this, and my mum was like, Robyn had the same dream. And then he came to find me to let me know. But it's so weird. And quite a few people have premonition dreams.
There's something there. Like I don't think I've ever had a really accurate premonition dream in a sleep state, but there's definitely been times where there will be a person who I haven't thought about in years pop into my head, and then next thing you hear, the person passed away, or you'll see them randomly, and you're like, what the hell?
I think that happens to like phone calls, and you think of someone, and then suddenly they pop up.
It's happened a few times to me. We're all connected to the same grid, I guess you could say, in a weird way.
I think so. I think that like humans are connected on more than a physical sense. Like we're connected. It's spiritual. It's whatever realm you want to go
Collective
into.
consciousness.
Yeah.
Like throughout history, humans developed certain the ability to make fire, becoming sedentary and growing food rather than hunting and gathering, and like around the world, these things a lot of times
they were happening
took
at the same time.
Yeah, similar time.
But we can see that like a lot of like, especially that Mesoteric area, you can see so much of that in Neolithic as well. I'm trying to remember is it Neolithic for Stonehenge and Avery? I think it is.
I think so.
Oh, premonition that our camera's going to die.
Yeah.
Premonition.
Oh, we have to wrap it up because of that. Or else
I don't think it's recording anymore.
Oh no, I think it is.
And then I changed the last part. I'm changing it to like.
Oh, you're right.
Agriculture development.
Oh no, it is. This is just me zooming in on it.
7-2.
It's flashing.
It's flashing, so
battery's flashing.
we'll have to wrap up on that. But interesting note to end on, I guess. Like we'll have to pick up on that again next time, I think, because I'd love to talk about more of human history and how we have collectively had these moments. When you look at like the meridian line, there's going to be so many things to talk about on that.
Yeah.
That I can nerd out over. Yeah. Thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for coming in, Todd, and talking about our dreams with us. It's been a dream to have you.
It's been a dream.
It's been a dream, guys.
It's been my dream to be on a podcast.
Oh, I'm glad we could
fulfill that every week. Be like, get in my dream. Get on our podcast. And let's go home and we'll try the lucid dreaming thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
You're going to. Let us know.
Yeah, I'm going
how
to
it
set an
goes.
alarm for 2 hours before I get up in the morning and
Yeah.
then do the thing that it says in there and just repeat the sentence over and over in my head.
Not me.
Just try and go to it.
I hate early mornings.
Yeah, but you're
You're
going back
gonna
to bed. That's the dream right there.
Yeah. Going
I'm
back.
lying.
Yeah. Waking up and then realizing you've got like 3 hours left to sleep. It's the dream.
My lucid dream is just me sleeping again. It's just sleeping with
Just
sleeping.
sleeping.
That's a real parenting dream right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even have kids, and I know that that's a parent's dream. All right.
All right. Well, good night, everyone, or good day, wherever you are.
Good night and sweet dreams.
Oh.
Don't let the paralysis demon get you.